What is happening, everybody? Yes, Thursday night. Listen, we got a great show for you guys. I'm very excited about tonight's show. Got some great people on. And honestly, one of the panel members has something special that I'm actually going to wait till probably a little bit closer to the end of the first hour here to get into. But he had an opportunity to discuss things with a game developer and lead designer in a game that's coming out very soon. And I'm very interested to hear some of that interview. And we're very lucky to have that person on the panel. I'll get to that in a moment. I want to take a second to say thanks, everyone, for being here. Please do tweet it out. Let everybody know that we are live. Or repost it is now the proper way to say it. Hit that like button. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys can hear me and everything is good. How my audio engineers are out there. I know Eric, the producer, is probably listening from home. Shout out to Eric, the producer. We're going to have a great show for you guys. Right above that outstanding description. Look at that description. That's at least an A+. That's an A+ today, guys. Take a look at that. That gives you a little idea what we're going to be talking about. Right above that's the join button. If you'll please consider hitting that button and joining the Mooch Maniac family members, it would mean the world to me. But I've got some great people on the podcast tonight, and you're wondering maybe where some of the regulars are. Nib is probably literally making an espresso right now. But we'll see what's going on with Nib. And Detzinger just wrote me and said he's leaving work. He'll be here momentarily. Shout out to the great Wooly Gamer. He said, let's go, Mooch. Love the gang. Appreciate you, Wooly, for being here, buddy. Always great to see you in the audience. Great to see everybody here. I see CrossFire. I see Ocelot. Mad Joe. You guys are fantastic. Shout out to Dawn. Hope you're feeling better, Dawn. But I'm happy you're here with us. Please do tweet it out. Let everybody know. That being said, you guys know him as Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. But I know him as Coach these days. Coach, what's going on out there? Where are the chains? Are we close to a first down, Brap? Where are you reporting from live tonight?
Mooch, let me tell you, it is a live one down here in the gridiron.
Yes.
It's cold, and I'm actually in the middle of a pep rally right now. You might hear some music in the background. I just want to warn everyone. Its place is going bonkers.
I thought I heard the Notre Dame music in the background. That's fantastic, Brap. Great to have you, buddy, as always, man. Good to have you. Hopefully you can hang out with us tonight because I know you're very opinionated on tonight's topics. Great to have Brap with us tonight. Shout out to the great Mr. Badbit. And Mr. Badbit, that was you I was talking about momentarily ago. Very awesome to have you on the show. And the reason I said let's wait is Detzinger wrote me and said, hey, listen, please wait for the Outer Worlds 2 talk till I get there on the second half of the first hour. I will be there shortly. So, Mr. Babbitt, great to have you back on the show, buddy. And listen, can't wait to discuss that with you. But how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing as good as I can. I'm tired. My body hurts. My body's just shutting down. But I'm here because I ain't going to miss it today. But just tired, man.
Well, listen. Hopefully, my loud New York voice will wake you up a bit, Mr. Babbitt. It's like a cup of coffee. You know what I mean?
I'm in Jersey, dude. It's not.
That's right.
God, it's no. Listen, I'm happy to be here. Tiredness aside, body aches aside, I wouldn't miss it for the world because we got a lot of game stuff to talk about.
Yes,
we got Outer Worlds 2 dev talk, of which I'm allowed to say.
Great.
Ghost, Battlefield 6. I just played a little Ball X Pit before on the pod, and right now I'm just vibing to the music as we're going live here. So we got so much to talk about. Let's just get right into it.
I appreciate that, Mr. Babbitt. Shout out to, I see a couple of people. Matty Beast, the great Matty Beast is here. And Drake, they're saying, where's Crap? I spoke to Crap earlier today. He's listening to the show. If Crap can hop on, he will. He's not going to be able to stay the full 2 hours, but he said, listen, I'll come on if I can come on. So if Crap's listening, he's always well. Crap knows that. I'd love to hear what Crap's got to say as well. Shout out to Bathy J. Says, nostalgia is an Xbox. It was good 15 years ago, but there's no reason for it to exist now. And the super chat work, it's a miracle. Bathy J does work, and it is a miracle. In fact, shout out to the great Lady Gamer 1980. Welcome to the Mooch Maniac family member. Thank you, Dawn, for that. I appreciate that. You go through a lot, and you really help the channel. You're outstanding. Melrose Mike says, half a beer on me. I hope you guys know I am trying my damnedest to read super chats more frequently. I usually wait till we're done with the segment, but now I'm going to do it in between. But listen, I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited about this next guest. Listen, this is a very difficult thing. When you're talking about East Coast, West Coast, and I'm not talking about East Coast versus West Coast. I'm talking about time zones, people. Time zones. Relax. You know how hard it is to get the great Porter Rock 77 on the show? And it's not because he doesn't want to come. We talk all the time. The problem is the time zones. But hopefully P-Rock's got some great news for us as we approach the holiday season. We'll get P-Rock more more enthusiastic to join us on East Coast time. The great P-Rock. P-Rock, you've been on fire on X, your channel. I got to be honest with you. You do your podcast every Tuesday night, and then on top of that, you've got every morning I wake up, and there it is. Coming soon, another video from P-Rock. I don't know how you do it, P-Rock. You've been doing this as long as I've been doing it, and God bless you. You got a lot more energy than I do. But P-Rock, welcome back to CrossFire. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, brother? It's good to be back. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, but like over the last couple of months, been preparing for retirement, and it's just been hectic. It's just a lot of stuff and stuff like that, right? Yeah, even trying to manage my own channel, I have to block out time and stuff like that. But anyways, good to be here. Glad I was able to, hang out. I'm looking forward to the combos.
Appreciate that, P-Rock. Well, let's get right into it, guys. Let's talk about a little bit of this. So we're going to talk about the games of Outer Worlds and a few things. I have others planned too. I want to talk about Arc Raiders. We're going to be discussing a few other things that are coming out and that have come out in the near future and just recently in the near past. But I do want to talk about this. P-Rock, let's get it down to the Xbox consoles. Let's start with I know that you were going back and forth a lot on X, and it wasn't just you, by the way. It was the entire community. A lot of people showing that, yes, Target and Walmart are still selling, Costco, but then there was reports that there was calls put out there that they are still going to do it, but then there's a lot of shelves showing up empty. You're seeing a lot of Xbox slots now being used for Nintendo games, and you're seeing all this happening, and it's kind of a chained effect here, P-Rock. So I'm going to take a couple of topics, all right, and put you on the hot seat here. So first and foremost, we see that for the most part, I'm not saying it's definite, but for the most part, a lot of the Xbox consoles are being pulled off shelves. Okay, and it's because it's not being pulled off shelves. Let me put it this way. They're not restocking them. And then you see this collaboration going on with Xbox and ASUS and probably Xbox and maybe even another company as they move closer to the next generation. What is it we're seeing here? Do you firmly believe that Xbox is weeding out this generation this early? And what do you think is truly next for my audience? I know your audience knows this answer because you covered this. What do you think is next for Xbox? When you see what's happening with the ROG Xbox Ally, you also see what's going to happen with the chipsets with AMD. And you saw that verbiage that came out, and they said, well, they're going to let AMD do a lot of the work. So where are you on the future of Xbox and what we've seen in the past maybe week?
All right, so let's simplify this, right? Because I think the problem is people just not simplifying what's happening. All right, You have a company, doesn't matter. Just think of a company in industry. They have a product, they have expectations of a product, and over the years, the product's not meeting that expectation. It's losing revenue, it's not meeting the metrics of whatever that company set. What eventually happens to the product? They start phasing it out. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Simple. Doesn't matter what industry, doesn't matter the company, doesn't matter. It's a simple metric, right? You release, you sell a product, you expect the product to do certain things. The product's not reaching some of those metrics for the shareholders. They got to readjust into a better plan, Either completely change the product or just completely get rid of it. Okay. A lot of fans talking about sales don't matter, this don't matter, it's console or whatever. Well, if you were one of those that were in that, position, then you clearly don't understand what's happening because you ignored the signs. The signs were there. Microsoft, constantly showed Xbox hardware they were always losing money on it. During the AB key trials and stuff like that, we seen Satya himself was losing bonuses because Xbox division wasn't meeting key metrics, which messed up his bonuses. So it got to the point where he removed the division as part of his contract, so that way he doesn't keep losing money. The situation's there, right? It's all there.
Yes.
Microsoft's weakest link in this business. In terms of Xbox's biggest business, and the weakest link, the biggest problem is its hardware. People are not buying it. So to invest billions into hardware that people aren't buying, that doesn't make sense, right? So I think what we're seeing already is the slowdown or the eventual, cut this off. Just cut it off. Because especially now that they had to raise the price, you couldn't sell an Xbox console for $200. Remember, Mooch? They were selling the Series S for $200.
Yep.
And the Series X for $350 packed in with Diablo.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't selling. What are you going to do at prices of $400 and $650? It's just not going to happen.
The
So
thing is,
Microsoft's
though,
writing down.
so P-Rock, let me ask you a question, though. Let me take it one step further back, because you said their problem is hardware. And I think that is the vis-a-vis where we ended up. But if you look back to the second half of the generation of the Xbox One, okay, after you get to about 2016, 2017, they really didn't have a lot of games coming out. Okay, so they had that. Then they started doing their acquisitions. And when they did those acquisitions, everyone has short-term memory. Everyone's just thinking about just Minecraft, and they're thinking about just things like ABK. And even some of the APK games came out, and they were not very. They just didn't hit well with the gamers, right? I mean, you have Redfall didn't do very well. I think Starfield. You can argue if you're a Starfield fan that it did well, but not. I don't think it lived up to expectations. So when you had scenario after scenario, right? Gears 5 probably didn't hit in the same fashion that 1, 2, and 3 did. You have everything from the Xbox One era that leads up to that. And then they had Game Pass, and Game Pass was really saying, hey, listen, don't worry about buying games. Just use our service. It kept on, and it kept growing on PC, but it was kind of staggered on console. I think all of that led up. If you connect all those dots, you lead up to what you were saying. The hardware is their issue. Because when you look at it right out of the gate, right, the Xbox 360 did decently. It did damn decently, to be honest with you. It actually won the entire generation until the very, very end, where Sony kind of crept in and won at the very end, right? But they did damn good in the 360 era. And then they had the launch, which was very, very bumpy in Xbox One. But the hardware wasn't necessarily the problem at that point. So my question to you is it in fact the hardware? If you want to take anything I'm saying,
it is.
You're saying it's the hardware, not the software issues they had early on.
No. Let's look at the holistic, right? What you got to do is you got to look at the weakest part. You right? Sure, maybe the software, something, right? But you got to look at what is the most damaging portion of your business and cut that off. It's kind of like if you got gangrene on your toe, you're gonna chop off the toe. You're not gonna worry about a headache. You gotta focus on what the biggest problem is. So now, if we're gonna take it that far back, we got to look at it. Really starts with Satya taking over. If we want to look at where it begins with Satya. He takes over as CEO of Microsoft in 2014.
Yep.
And he goes and he starts strategizing his strategic vision. This is my vision. I want to know what everybody has in their functional departments and how it aligns with my vision. So he met with all the figureheads. Phil was one of them. Phil had to align Xbox with his vision. Phil cannot go, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to go straight with hardcore consoles and exclusives. We already know Satya don't like the idea of software being locked to a box. So Phil can't approach him to that. Satya would have fired him. So Phil went on a vision. He says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start pushing Xbox with cloud. We got this great idea for Game Pass, software as a service. You can put on a device. We're going to start putting our games in more devices. He started saying that he started saying the things that Satya likes to hear as overall CEO. So he's like, you know what? Execute. So we started seeing that. This whole time, Phil, that's what he was working on during Xbox, Xbox One generation. Trying to get, getting his functional department, doing the contracts, doing the deals, talking to his figureheads, to his staff. This is the plan. We have to start working this. In due time, 2017, they launched Game Pass. 2019, they announced day and date across PC and stuff like that. So that was the plan. Satya greenlighted another console, right?
Yep.
The console wasn't made just to be a console in a traditional sense. It's supposed to be one of the many devices that fits this ecosystem with Game Pass, day and day games and stuff like that. Play anywhere entitlements, this whole platform ecosystem stuff. And Satya's cool with that. Okay. But the problem is, you fast forward to 2025, it all pretty much ended up in failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just an overall failure, right? Now, some things were successful, right? You could see them being a third party, putting games on PlayStation as part of their strategy is successful. You saw with Forza Horizon, 3 million sales. They got extra 3 million sales on a game that's 4 years old.
Right.
Almost all their multiplats are selling better, right? All that stuff, right? They went back to doing the Call of Duty bundle on PlayStation when they said they're not going to do that. They went right back to it. So the third party stuff is going. You saw, like you just said, Game Pass did a bit more growth on PC than their own console, right? So they're getting metrics on PC and stuff like that. So all the software sales, third-party strategy, putting things on every device, that's generally what's working for them now, right? Whether or not how it's working, we could talk about that. But the one absolute we do know, the console is still not working. It's at its worst it's ever been, especially now at $400 and $650. You know, $400 Series S and a $650 Series X, and then if you look at the 2 terabyte, $800, it's in the worst position ever. It's available. It's pretty much hardly anywhere around the world. It's pretty much gone from the Middle East.
Yeah,
Europe, don't even think about it. It was never relevant in Asia.
Right.
It's winding down in Brazil, America, and now you're already seeing bits and pieces like Costco and Sam's Club.
Yeah,
the console's the absolute worst part, right? So now the question is, if we can't sell consoles, what does that mean for the future of the Xbox division? Should it be a software service focused division versus adding hardware? All right. So there's a problem though, because your name started out with hardware. A lot of people that want hardware. Okay, if you want hardware, how can a company leverage hardware without the loss? Because that's the answer. Leverage hardware, but you're not losing money on hardware. How can that be possible? Well, the answer is simple. Convince people that PC is an Xbox. It's a real simple idea when you think about it, right?
Yes.
If you could convince people that PC gaming is Xbox, now you're talking about hardware that gets sold for profit. PC gaming doesn't get subsidized. And the best part is, it doesn't necessarily have to be Microsoft to make it. All Microsoft has to do is focus on the software to give you that console experience as best as possible.
Yes.
You could pawn off the hardware and the risk of making hardware off of somebody else. You can let ASUS handle that. You can let Lenovo, Dell, whoever. Microsoft doesn't have to actually be the risk owner of selling hardware, right? So you can back out of hardware, right?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, convince your audience through marketing that, hey, you still got Xbox hardware. You got Xbox hardware. You still got Xbox through your phone. You still got Xbox through your TV. You still got Xbox through a Fire Stick. And if people can buy off on that, you just relieved Microsoft from the responsibility of having to make hardware, which is what they don't want. They don't want that responsibility because it's costly.
Mm-hmm. No,
Xbox One was a failed gen.
I follow you.
Series X was a failed gen. Yeah. So what is it? Strike three? This isn't baseball. CEOs don't play baseball. No,
you don't. You don't always get 3 strikes. Not in business. That's right.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I do.
There's a clear problem, and this ROG Ally, for example, is a perfect example. I mean, some people are telling the truth now. Right? You saw Paris Lilly, Tom Warren.
Yes.
A lot of Xbox centric or Microsoft centric accounts. Influencers that talk a lot about Xbox. They have it. Microsoft sent them. They're doing the reviews, and they're telling the truth. They're telling the audience, the customers, the truth. This is not an Xbox. This is a PC, Windows handheld.
That's right.
You could figure it. This is the future, and they're just telling the truth, right? And that's the future of Xbox. Microsoft wants to get out of hardware because hardware is costly, and then when you make and sell it, you have to sell it at a loss initially because you want that mass market. And Microsoft has not been good at that. In fact, that's the weakest part. They don't want to do that no more. They want to distribute games, they want to distribute services, and they want it as many devices as possible. So if they could convince their audience, hey, this is an Xbox, which is clearly working for some, but for most, they're not buying that BS. Most see for what it is. But in the end, you got to look at it from the person of Microsoft. Xbox hardware is hurting them. They're losing money. It's not meeting the metrics. It's pretty simple. It's simple business.
Right.
If the product is not meeting the metrics you want, they're going to get rid of it. They're just not going to keep making a failed product and just keep failing at it for the sake of just having it. No. Microsoft didn't become a $4 trillion company supporting failed ideas.
So, Puerto Rock, you made a great case. So I'm going to ask Brap. Brap, I want to ask you a question here because you've been kind of very lively on X recently yourself. And to be honest with you, so taking what P Rock said and just kind of building on that block, my question for you is now you have something that's out there in the Xbox Ally X, right? ROG Ally X. And forget that this is an Xbox or this is not an Xbox. Let's forget that whole slogan, right? $1,000. So P-Rox makes a great case. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, so now they collaborate. They work with a third party for hardware. And it's $1,000, 1080p resolution, right? For the most part. I'm not sure if it gets any higher than that. I just saw a lot of people saying for 1080p, $1,000. That's a lot of money. So now you have a console that didn't sell well at $650 respectively. Now $400 for the S, I think, with the price increase, right? $800, like you were saying, if you want a 2 terabyte. Now it's $1,000. This thing is considerably less powerful than the Xbox Series X. I mean, where is somebody missing the point here? I don't see how even putting an Xbox logo on this thing helps move it. We're seeing people that are talking about it. I see very few people on my timeline, Brap, saying that they bought it. I'm seeing a lot of people saying they're reviewing it. There's a lot of people reviewing it, maybe getting a version of it to review for their channels, which is due diligence. But my point being is who's buying this thing for $1,000 on the go, right? People were saying that the Nintendo Switch 2 was ridiculous at $450. $450 is starting to look like chump change, Brap.
Well, I think this is an enthusiast device. It's for the enthusiast Xbox consumer. So it's not a mass market device. So that's who that's who this thing is for. That's the consumer that's going to go out and buy this at $1,000 or whatever the case is, right? Or the $600 version of the ASUS ROG Ally X, or Xbox ROG Ally. So I think, to kind of piggyback off what Porter Rock just mentioned about hardware and that being the weakest point of their business, I think we could all agree. And you look at their financials, we talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago. You look at like the revenue decline, multiple quarters in a row, year over year, right? Like that is not good. They at one point, and I haven't pulled a thread on this in quite some time, but I think at one point they were actually selling less Xbox Series consoles than the Xbox One, right? When you look at like the post-release window for, I forget what the metric is. It's like launch. I forget what it is. Like when you align the launch windows or whatever, like it was trailing the Xbox One, and we know how poorly the Xbox One did in comparison to the Xbox 360. So yeah, they're losing market share in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
and then you cannibalize hardware when you tell people that you don't need to buy an Xbox now. And then you present another problem to the business when you're telling them, hey, you don't have to buy software. I mean, the model's always worked, and you've always made money off the selling of software to kind of offset the loss of hardware initially up front, right? Eventually you kind of hit a break even, or you make very small profit margins on the hardware. But and this is we talked about this on BRAP yesterday, which goes live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, great plug!
And yeah, thank you. We had Worry Word on, by the way.
I know, I saw that. Shout out to Worry.
Yeah, big shout out to Worry. And it's interesting. Mooch, you and I've we've been following this for over a decade now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have seen this shift, right? We've seen the decline in market share on the Xbox side, and so it begs the question, like, what's next, right? Like, are they going to be able to, are they going to make hardware again? There's that rumor out there, right? Like that they're going to exit hardware. I think, and this is kind of where Logic and I disagree, I think there will be hardware next generation. I just don't think that it's going to be first party hardware. I think that the ASUS partnership is kind of a preview of what to expect next generation. And if you look at Magnus and what Moore's Law is Dead is kind of leaked,
right?
What he's discussed, this thing points to kind of this PC hybrid. And I can tell you that, I don't want to mention his name, but there's a prominent content creator who I've had on BRAP who about a year ago said to me, BRAP, like they're going to do this like PC Xbox hybrid, and that's what ASUS, like the ASUS ROG Ally, it's a PC handheld with this Xbox overlay built into it, and I think that's what they're gonna sell, like in terms of the next evolution of. I think this is going to be their evolution of the console, right? It's going to be this hybrid, high-end PC, Xbox device. It's going to be sell at a premium price. I think it's going to be more a boutique. Mm-hmm. I think Moore's Law is Dead. Maybe he said that this thing's going to be like $800 or north of $800. Okay. And I think that's the future they're heading. But when you say everything's an Xbox, I mean, if you think about that from a brand perspective, that's just again, I don't say this to hate on Xbox. And people, you guys are just hating on Xbox. I'm like, this is just what happens when you dilute the brand and you take away some of the things that distinguish the brand from its competitors in the market, right? When you say it's everywhere, and this is what Lauren, what's her name? Is it Lauren Fryer?
Laura
Fryer.
Fryer.
She's one of the founders of Xbox and helped launch Gears of War. She said when everything's an Xbox, nothing is an Xbox. I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right, because now you start diluting the brand, right? Because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think the messaging is pretty clear. Like, we're going to be everywhere. And I said this on Twitter today. I said the future of Xbox is really just the Xbox app, and it's going to be everywhere, right? And that's going to be that's how you're going to access Xbox now. You're going to fire up the Xbox app, which Game Pass exists inside that app.
Right.
It's going to be on any device, and yeah, we're going to have hardware for our diehards, but I do believe it's going to be third-party OEM. I don't think it's going to be first-party. To Porter Rock's point, like, why do we want to make hardware when it's been a failing business for us? Why do we want to invest that money? So I think that is the future. I think they're being very clear. I think some people are just being willfully ignorant and not wanting to pay attention and read the tea leaves of what's happening here. And I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just saying this is what they're doing, right? And it's a result of some of the shortcomings, some of the things that Porter Rock talked about, and some of the things we've talked about the last couple of weeks about some of the challenges they've had in the console business. So you either bow out or you figure out a way to pivot and pivot in a way that's going to be healthy for the business. And I think that's what this pivot is for them.
That's interesting. So, Mr. Babbitt, you hear what Brab's saying there. I guess so. My question to you would be, and feel free to comment on the last two topic questions as well if you want, Mr. Babbitt, but is Xbox reading the room here? Because if price points of 400, 650, and 800 aren't going to move, they're not moving hardware, then these collaborations that they're doing with others, where is their intent? Just go third party, start selling your software everywhere, and be extremely profitable at this point, Mr. Babbitt. Why? Because even if you're doing an R&D research program with somebody, or you're doing any kind of collab, it still costs money. It doesn't cost as much as it did to get the Series X out the door or the Xbox One, for sure. But realistically, Mr. Babbitt, do you think they're still reading the room properly, or something still off over there as far as Xbox is concerned?
It's like what they always do, dude. They read the room, but they read it way too early. That is kind of my read on the situation. Or they do the thing way too early and way too heavy-handedly.
Mm-hmm.
I think, look, the ROG Ally X looks really, really cool. I think it looks like the most comfortable handheld that you can hold in your hand. I love that it's literally an Xbox controller, and then they put a screen, in between it. It's awesome. I love that. And yeah, like what Brap said, this is definitely for the enthusiast. And I think what they're really trying hard to do is to convince everybody that everything's in Xbox. And so it's easier for you to put an app on a screen than you going out there and making the hardware yourself. And so they very much see Steam's success over the past, 4 or 5 years, them doubling their concurrent audience, and go, well, why can't we just do what Steam does? They put an app on someone else's box and they go buy things on Steam. And if we make it super approachable, well, then there's a good, strong chance people will come over. And if we're integrating everyone's library into one place because we're Windows and we can do that, then someone doesn't have to have the fear of, oh, well, if I leave Steam, I leave all that pile of games as well. I think the biggest problem is integrating the Xbox games into the PC vision that Xbox clearly has at this point. That's going to be the real problem, because that's what I've seen Xbox fans be very frustrated about this console.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when they go, yeah, it's a PC, it's the games that I could quote unquote play anywhere, but it's not my Xbox library. It's still this PC library that I'm building, or if I have Game Pass, we're all good. So it's Xbox is in that place, and I think seeing the reactions even from the Xbox audience, I think they kind of get it that this is. I think Lord Cognito said it on Dukes. He's like, I've been on this road before, So like, it's this is very much their Sega moment. This is very much them, someone else on leadership. We all say Satya. It could be Amy Hood or whatever, but right. It's someone else going, yo, guys, this isn't working. And I think we really should have read the room when Phil Spencer was on Kind of Funny and said there's no amount of Starfields that are gonna help sell an Xbox. We really should have just read the room going, oh, okay. Not them be giving up, quote unquote, but being candid about the position that they're in. We all created the library that we have. Look, sometimes I look at Steam and I look at my PC and I go, that's a really awesome place. Like there are so many games that come out every single day in these small little indies that are really special. Like I'm thinking of Peak. Peak is one that I'm like, this is a stupid ass game I'd love to jump into that I can't play on my PlayStation, but I stay on my PlayStation. Why? Because I built this big library.
That's right.
So that is the part of it that they just don't have the legacy. They don't have the ecosystem to support it, but they're still going to support the customers' support. But like, they're still going to get as much money as they can for the folks that already have Xbox and have invested in them.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing here now when it comes to like the price increases to Game Pass and all that. So, this is just Xbox, weirdly bowing out. And the one thing I do want to mention, this is where I'll get fanboyish. Okay, some people will cheer and some people will boo, and maybe some person will clip this. Is that we keep equating Xbox's problems to be the industry as a whole problem, and also PlayStation's problem. And to me, I see it all here. Go, no, this is just Xbox's problem. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I think the PlayStation 5 being $600 is gross. It shouldn't be. And they should be able to take the hit on this console.
Yeah.
Right. They should. Listen, terrorists be damned, but like this console is 5 years old.
Right.
Right. Like the PS5 has not outsold the PS4. Like that is an issue, but it's not the issue where Xbox is at this point in time, where they are what the theory is, like 10 plus million consoles down. That is the concern. So for me, just because Xbox is in this predicament doesn't necessarily mean PlayStation's following the same path. When people go, oh yeah, the next generation probably last PlayStation 2. It's like, no, I don't see that. I see a PlayStation 6. I see a PlayStation 7. I see a PlayStation 8. Like I see a console until literally no one's there. Like that is, that's where they're at. Or the Saudis buy.
Right.
He said the Saudis buy. Mr. Babbitt, can I chime in? I want to chime in real quick. I think you brought up a great point. I think this is important to note. You said that, Xbox problems, aren't PlayStation's problems, right? Yeah. And I see a lot of people saying that. They conflate the two. Different companies, different positions in the market, different challenges, right?
Yep.
Like people need to just stop conflating the two and assuming that, because Xbox struggled to grow their console base, therefore PlayStation is struggling to grow their console base too. And people try to do that. Oh, well, look, they only sold 80 something million, Yeah, they have. And in North America, they're actually clipping ahead of, pace of PlayStation 4, right? And all this, by the way, to your point, Mr. Babbitt, is that they've done this and they're still selling. The PlayStation 5 is still selling well without a price decrease.
Right.
And so think about that. So what does that say about the demand of that particular platform? They haven't lowered the price. It's actually increased a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see how the price increase impacts, and with Ghost of Yote, how that impacts sales, right?
Yeah.
But they're still selling well.
Right. And that's the thing that, and truthfully, guys, that's the thing that boggles my mind, because I would not go out there and buy a $600 console, especially if it's like 5 years old. Like, real talk, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So like it does boggle my mind, but it just goes to show, the demand for this console. It always makes me think when I think about that, Brap, it's like, man, what if Sony, you just took a bit of a hit and just went, you know what, we're keeping it the same price, or you know what, we're gonna take an extra hit on this tariff. Like, and where would they be if this was a $300 and a $400 console, or $350, $450, right? Like, my whole thing with the console market, the thing that scares me, truthfully, is that we're at this point where 10 plus million people have left Xbox, assumedly. Right. We're thinking the number's 40 million, whatever. 10 million people left an Xbox. They didn't go out and necessarily buy a PlayStation because that console's down about 1 million or 2. Right. And so people are just leaving games. That's the thing that concerns me. Right. It's like, where will the PlayStation 5 be at the end of its lifespan? Where will the Switch 2 be at the end of its lifespan?
Yeah.
Because then we're just seeing the console market as a whole, it has just shrunk. And that scares me as an old man.
Expound.
Go ahead, Ghost. Ghost, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing, Ghost?
Go.
Sorry, thank you. Sorry
Also,
for
can
just
I have
jumping
one of
in,
your
man.
cars? Or just
Can I have
don't
one
know.
of your cars? That's
think
great.
about paying my student loan.
Hey, you know what? Since we're on that topic, Ghost, listen.
We got to go on a
Don't
fishing trip
modify
with
that
Ghost, by the
car.
way.
Listen, tell your wife, listen, it's a waste of time sending that old ass car back. Just get her a new one, fresh off the man. I'll take it over. Listen, I will take that problem off your shoulders. I got you, bro.
Exactly.
I got you.
I appreciate it. That's why I rock with you right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Always looking out.
We can trade. I got a 2025. Don't like to brag. Toyota Camry SE. Couldn't afford the XSE, but an SE, and it goes reasonably fast.
Hey, fair trade. We'll just swap. We'll swap titles.
Swap titles. See all the deals get done on Crossfire. What's up, Ghost? So, Ghost, something must really got on your nerves, man. Because when you wanna speak, I can't wait to hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, no, this is a great topic because I think one component that we are missing is that, you know, especially my man, I think it was Bad Bit brought up a really good point as far as conflating the two. And one of the things that Microsoft or Xbox doesn't have that Sony have is the brand equity. And Microsoft's biggest struggle, to Porterrock's point, is not only have they had issues with software, but they've lost that brand equity generation after generation. And even though the 360 sold extremely well, they also had their fair share of bumps with the Red Ring of Death. And that turned a lot of people, even though they were, giving the free, upgrade, or not upgrades, but the free returns and refurbish systems or replicas, but that still left a lot of, a spoil taste in people's mouth, right? And then over the years and over the generations, they've struggled with their brand equity, and it started with their consoles. It started with the lack of games. It started with kind of and I don't want to say, I'm not trying to console war, but the cheapness feeling and their horrific marketing, right? And the lack of marketing as far as a worldwide entity, right? So one of the things that I think my man just said, I think Sony should take the hit. Okay, I think you're minimizing that to the point because
Sure.
If anyone could take the hit, it would be Microsoft, right? And I'm not saying that as a $4 trillion company. I'm saying that as a company that does not sell 100+ million, because you then you compound that. If Sony gets even anywhere close to their 120, 130 million over the life of this generation, so we'll just use the 80 million number that we're at now, especially with these tariffs that just hit, or that's the reasoning behind their price increase. So you add another, 50, 60 million on that, and do the math on it. No company's going to take that hit. No company. And
That's right.
I wouldn't have. And if I did, holy moly, I'd be flipping someone. And
that's the one thing too. As I say that, it's like this is someone without a business degree or nothing, and it makes me wonder. It's like, okay, so like, how much does this console cost with all these tariffs in place and the RAM and whatever AI servers need? And are very competitive with. So like, that's the other thing. Yeah, it's
there's one more thing to consider.
We could.
There's one more thing to consider. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ghost. My bad.
I mean, but it's. I think sometimes we when we say stuff like that, when we think like that, we think about the console we have, right? We're like, well, shit, we could take the hit. But then when you start putting 10, 20, 30, 40 million, 50 million, and that number's not pretty. Then you're talking in the billions and billions, and then that just is not a reality that any company would face. Microsoft itself, even though I always post, 360 sold 80+ million, Xbox One's around the 60s million, and they've seen a decline. And so back to this ROG, I'm not a fan of the ROG, the ROG Xbox, the handheld. It intrigues me as a tech guy. It does. I mean, and I made a post today. I was like, man, if for all the people poo-pooing on it, like as a tech person or as a gamer, I mean, this should. It should intrigue you. I don't think I think a lot of people that are shit on it are just shit on it just to be shitting on it. Right? It is what it is.
Sure.
Mhm.
But the same token, like I'm intrigued. I'm not going to buy it, but it intrigued me, and I'm excited that Xbox is actually taking a risk and branching out. If it fails, it fails. If it does great, it does great. Awesome. But I think that this is like this whole panel has said. This is them. It's the last hurrah, right? And the biggest point I take away from this is that I think it is a barometer. They're testing the room temperature. They're seeing how well this does, the overall reception of it, and I think this is a test case, and it does not cost them that much. I don't know. I don't work for them, but it can't be the cost of a console, right? And so I think that this is a genuine test case to see the overall public reception, and that's the reason why they handed it to so many influencers. You know what I'm saying? People that, have big channels. There's a lot I saw all day today. People were, showcasing this, and you had influencers who were some were telling the truth, but some were all so excited to kind of create that buzz. Because I think this is just a barometer to see how well this does. And if it does extremely well, then you'll see the PC hybrids. If this flops and fails, like my man said, this is their Sega moment.
P-Rock, get your thought in. I think I got some
Oh, I
super chats too I want to get to, but go P-Rock or Mr. Bad, but whoever wanted to get their point in.
No, P-Rock. I've talked.
Yeah. So just with the whole Microsoft should eat it, or at least because they're $4 trillion, they already did. Like we already seen, like I said earlier, we already seen a $200 Xbox, and people didn't buy it. Like we already know what a very affordable Xbox console is, this gen. We seen a $200 Xbox Series S, and it came with like 3 months of Game Pass, and this was before the first price hike, right? That they did before, and then we seen Xbox Series X for $350 with Diablo packed in. So we already had really affordable, cheap Xboxes out in the wilds, and people still didn't buy it, right? I think at a certain point, it's not about Microsoft should eat it. It's at a certain point we just got to recognize the product for what it is. It's not a desirable product. It's just not a massive desirable product, regardless of the price point. Microsoft raised it probably just to minimize the losses for what they do have. But at this point, it's not going to be a decently selling product. It's beyond that. It's already at the point of beyond no return. So that's probably why we've seen all this reduction in shelf space. I would imagine next year, because Microsoft's not going to announce right before the holidays like bad news. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, we're no longer producing this or we're doing that the holidays, right? They're going to save that after the fact in January, February, and you'll start hearing more about, what their stuff is. Also, they also got the CEO, what they did, restructuring. So that's also a big play in this, whatever. But I think I don't understand why. It's funny. Gaming is the only industry, at least from the enthusiasts and people are interested in talking about games and the industry, stuff like that. Gaming is the only industry where we just can't hold the industry to the same standard as everybody else. I mean, it's not hard. Like, look at Stadia. No one had a problem recognizing that Stadia was going to fail. It was easy. Like, we're like, hey, no one's buying it, no one cares. Yeah, Google's going to eventually bounce. And that's exactly what they did, right? The metrics are the same. Is the product selling? Is it mean the metrics? We've seen for years the hardware is just doing bad, and that's just this gen. Last gen it also did bad. Phil admitted that last gen he lost. So it's just like any other product. The metrics are going to go away, right? So now it's really shaping what's Microsoft going to do. I think I agree with Ghost with Microsoft looking at ASUS, or this device, to see how they can move forward. But I think moving forward is more about branding than worry about making hardware again. It's how can the Xbox brand make PC-like devices more successful? Because let's be honest, PC handheld gaming is niche. I think at this point, 6 million handhelds to include Steam, which includes Steam, has been sold globally. It's not a big market. It's a niche market. When you got MSI Claw, Lenovo, the ROG Allies that's already out, and you include Steam, which has, I guess the lion's shares of the sales, it's around 6 to 7 million over the course of 3 years. That's nothing. That's nothing. That doesn't mean anything. What does that mean?
To Porter Rock's point, though, real quick. Yeah, to Porter Rock's point, like handhelds aren't new. I mean, for some of the old heads like me and Mooch and maybe Ghost.
Don't you fucking say me. Okay, thank you.
Don't say me,
Definitely
Mr.
go.
Babbitt said.
Definitely goes.
Yeah. No, I mean, like hey, we've had handhelds for generations. I mean, the what was it? The TurboGrafx 16 handheld,
Game Boy, 3DS,
Game Boy, 3DS. Yeah, I mean, the only company that's ever had success at a mass at a mass market scale is Nintendo when they combine their successful handheld business with their console business. They're the only ones to hit that critical mass with the Switch, and now the Switch 2 is outperforming the Switch, the first Switch. So yeah, to Porter's point, I mean, it's always been a niche product, and I think that's the direction they're going. Again, I think like if they have this PC hybrid, it's only going to appeal to a subset of consumer. It's going to sell at high cost, high price. And they can make some money off of that, selling it to that limited consumer base at a high price. So, I think again, the writing's on the wall. Again, it's not an indictment of Microsoft. It's just the reality of some of the shortcomings, the challenges they've had with their console business, and the need to pivot.
So shout out to the great Donnell Brown. He says, how about them Yankees? So he's a little jab at you there, P-Rock. I can't really say anything. My Mets didn't even make it as far as you guys did, so I'll remain silent. But shout out to the great Donnell Brown. I know he goes back and forth with me and you. He does not like New York teams. Gordo P23 says
he's a Clippers fan.
He is. That's it. We can end it right there, P-Rock. We're done right there. Drop the mic. Shout out to Gordo. He says, shout out to P-Rock, our only friend in these YouTube streets. You already know it, Gordo. Appreciate you being here. Lord Metroid. Shout out to Lord Metroid, by the way. I'm just sitting there the other day, and he goes, Mooch, I noticed you haven't been on your Switch 2 yet. And he drops me, I believe it was Hollow Knight Silk Song, and he drops me the game. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I will be, actually, I'm on the road tomorrow. I'm going to be taking the Switch 2 with me to enjoy that game. So shout out to Lord Metroid. Glenn. Oh, wow. Ghost, are you on your boat again?
I was. My bad.
It's okay. Ghost. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, that sounds like he's out in the mid-Atlantic. Shout out to the great Glintzer. He says
that was a container ship coming past him.
He says the continuation of Xbox hardware should be applauded by everyone who appreciates humor. Another generation of jokes. Let's go. Glintzer, be easy, please. Shout out to Henry. He says, I'm here for P-Rock. And shout out to Mooch and crew. I appreciate that, Henry. Thank you. Jay Hart says, I don't think console gamers left gaming. An unprecedented number of gamers are still on last gen. Jay, there is a point to that. So, when it comes down to it, guys, when you stop and think about this, and I see Crisis Core, he mentioned this earlier in the chat. He says there's nowhere else to go but mobile. This console market is shrinking, and so are Sony's ideas to keep things new and fresh. PS6 will merely be PC-like upgrade. First of all, these consoles are becoming more and more like PCs every day, right? So that's that. To say it's going to be like a PC, that's fine.
Right.
But Brap, the thing about it is, well, yeah, and you can address it, but I'll set it up. But Brap, I don't see it that way. I think once you see, they're sitting at somewhere between 80 and 85 million on the PS5 Pro. That's with the ridiculousness that was in 2020 when they launched. And wait till you see the spike after GTA 6. But go ahead, Brap.
Well, Mooch, I think was a super chat that like everyone's going to mobile. Did he say that? I heard the console market shrinking, but was the comment about mobile?
Crisis Core, he said there's nowhere else to go but mobile. He says this console market is shrinking.
Okay, let me just debunk that narrative out there, right? That the console market, it's not shrinking, right? It is a mature market, right? It's not growing bonga like it was 25 years ago, right?
Right.
It's just not. But you can still. Here's the deal: in a mature market, you can still make money. You can still run a successful business. That is the point. When that no longer is when that's no longer feasible, then we can have this conversation, right? But it's very premature to say, it's a mature market. You can still have a profitable business in a mature market. In a mature market doesn't mean that there's no growth. Like to suggest that there's zero growth is false. There is some growth. There's also some growth in emerging markets. That's why you see Sony, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. That's why you see Sony investing in things like the China Hero Project, the India Hero Project.
That's
in
right.
Africa. They're trying to, in the Middle East, they're trying to expand the console appeal of PlayStation in those other markets because they see potential growth. So it's not net zero growth. And so I just want to debunk that narrative. The other thing about mobile is also a mature market too. Morgan Stanley had they put out an analysis of the mobile market. They defined it as a as a mature market as well. And lo and behold, they say they still expect revenue to grow in the mobile market. And they said the way that's going to happen is they're going to figure out how to charge people more money that are on mobile games. You only have a finite group of people, consumers, it's not unlimited, that want to play video games, whether it's mobile, console, and PC. That's just the reality of things, right? You see that with other consumer products, right? Just like, Ghost has a Ferrari or I forget, Lamborghini, I think. There's only finite consumers that want Lamborghinis or can afford them too. So, I mean, we don't have those conversations about Lamborghini. Oh, Lamborghini's not growing. We don't do that.
Right. Yeah. Lamborghini's hurting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just exactly right. We don't have that conversation. Oh, Lamborghini's in trouble. But that's the thing. And so Morgan Stanley's commentary about the mobile market is the way it's going to grow is they're going to figure out how to charge people more, and that's what's happening in the console industry. When you get into a mature market, Apple's doing this right now. You see Apple kind of squeezing pennies out of its consumers because that market is mature now. So that narrative just drives me bonkers because it's not true. It's not accurate at all.
Yeah, I don't see the console market, and I know that there's always that fear. I don't like the word fear mongering, but you see the media throws that out there once every 6 months.
I get scared.
I'm concerned. Yeah, they're scared and they're concerned. Meanwhile, the minute GTA 6 launches and there's a spike and we see the Circana results and everything else comes out as far as sales, they'll be like, well, my worries are put to rest.
Well, that's my thing. Real talk. But that's my thing. It's okay, so we're all banking on GTA to come out and it's selling more PlayStations and Xboxes, etc. Yeah. But then a year afterwards, you just gotta go make a new console? You're gonna release one? That's my thing. My thing is, here's my hot take. All right, and I get it. It'll be met with booze. I don't give a shit. We don't need we don't need a PS6. We don't need an Xbox, whatever. You don't need a Switch 3. I like what I have right now. And for me, I think that the truest problem in front of PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, everybody is what's the thing that's going to propel me forward to get a PlayStation 6? What is that thing? Because right now I'm comfy. I don't, the one thing we always hear constantly is hey man, we just got PS5 games, right? It seems. Right. So it's let these developers milk this thing dry. Let's wait an extra year to see who, in 2028 to see if there's an election at this point. And it's just see what happens. Roll the dice. See if the tariffs are lifted or whatever have you.
Right.
Those things I think would be a better time to launch a console than in 2027.
I don't see. So that was one of the things I had as a topic here was the 2027. We can kind of mush these two topics together. That's fine. But shout out to King Webb here. He says something, and I think we discussed this last week, Brap. Remember if we went over this? He says Gen Alpha plays mobile, buddy. This generation is old. What a lot of people don't realize, when it comes down to it, King Webb is Brap, remember we were talking about our kids, right? So the situation, they were only on iPads for the longest time. Then, as they get older, they go to console. It doesn't, when I was trying to explain, King Webb, they graduate to better devices, right? They graduate to wanting to come home after a long day's work. Gen Alpha will eventually go to work. They will come home. When they come home, they're going to want to have a 75-inch television. They're going to want to have hardware that plays things on a great, right? So they're not going to come home and Gen Alpha plays on iPads, and when they're in 30 years from now, they're just still sit on their iPad and play games. No, they won't.
Can I chime in again? I want to debunk something else now. This idea that Gen Alpha, they play, and to your point, you're right, Mooch. At some point, they're going to have disposable income, right? Right. Are we assuming that their tastes aren't going to change? Look, my kids eat McDonald's. That's like me saying, you know what? My kids eat McDonald's, so therefore, when they're adults, they're going to eat McDonald's. No, that doesn't happen. Our tastes change. We get disposable income. We make more money. We like nicer things. We can afford nicer things. The ESA did a survey. The ESA did a survey.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, the ESA did a survey, and there was someone else. Logic shared another survey of gamers, and they showed that Gen Alpha and Gen Z actually play on consoles more than Gen X.
Yes, they did.
So that kind of debunks the whole, they play mobile, therefore they're only going to play mobile. No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works, right?
That's right, Brap. Great analogy from last week, too, with the McDonald's. Your kids eat McDonald's now, right? So they're not going to change their taste at all. They're never going to want a steak at a steak restaurant in New York City. They're never going to want that. Go ahead, P-Rock.
Let's also look at it this way. right? Gen Alpha, the oldest group of Gen Alpha are
Thank you.
15-year-olds.
Thank you.
Gen Alpha starts at 2010. Here's the thing. They're not decision makers. They got no money. They got what their parents tell them to get. So everybody's like, oh, but Gen Alpha is whatever. They have no money, right? You're talking about 8-year-olds. 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 11-year-olds don't get decisions. They get what their parents decide to buy
That's
them.
right.
And a lot of times, one of the best devices to give a 10-year-old, 9-year-old for entertainment is an iPad or it's a phone because it's mobile. It's everywhere, whatever. That doesn't mean an 8-year-old looks at a PlayStation like, oh, I don't like that. I like my iPad. No, you give an 8-year-old a PlayStation, they're going to play that sucker. They're gonna enjoy it.
That's right.
They'll 8. I mean, did we forget when we were 8? God, I was playing on a TurboGrafx 16. Like whatever you gave me, I'm playing it. You know, because I was too young.
That's right.
But once you're of age and you start earning your own dollars and you're an adult, that's when you start seeing what do I want. And guess what? When you have money and you're able to, you kind of like premium experiences. You don't want to play, Candy Crush all the time. You know, if you're a gamer and gaming maintains your hobby,
That's right.
You want to play some great experiences in gaming. So then you evolve your taste. You leave the tablet because remember, and it's true. Remember, Mooch, people were talking about that last gen.
That's
like,
right.
Oh, these gamers are tablets.
I mean,
these consoles
to
are
speak
done.
on that,
And look
That's
where we're
right.
at now.
That's
People
right.
are still buying consoles
And
at a more expensive price.
And now you have the
are
people.
buying
And now you have.
consoles at $600.
They're not only buying that, but P-Rock, you've got a lot of people leaving the Xbox camp and telling you, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm going to PC, and they're building PCs, and you see them. They're building these PCs that are well over $1,500. The ones that I'm seeing online. So they're exponentially going way past tablet, phone, console. So I mean, yeah, that's fine. I see King Webb. He says, he goes PC as well. But if you're going to sit there and say they're going to go to PC, these people that have expendable money will also maybe buy a $600 or $700 console in the future. I don't know, So go ahead, Mr. Babbitt.
Speak on that for just a quick second. Like, our co-host Light, she has a 3-year-old daughter, and we get a text from her husband in our group chat, and he's just like, you're not gonna believe what she's just done. That we're playing Red Dead 2 together, and she's helping me hunt and spot animals, and she knew how to gallop on the horse by just pressing X. Like, it's like these kids. Yeah, you're right. Like they game on what you give them. But at the same exact time, there's a lot of these gen whatever the hell, and the one conversation I love to bring up is like my one buddy who's 24. I go, we were talking about Spider-Man 2, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm so excited, I can't wait." It's a huge Spider-Man fan. I go, "Oh, so you're gonna buy it day one?" He's like, "I'm just gonna wait till it's on PC." I'm like, "But you're so excited." He's like, "Yeah, but I'll wait." And I'm like, okay, so you're gonna get those consumers.
Well,
and when you see a market like Steam,
yes,
again, like double in size in the last 4 years, any company's gonna look at that going, how much money can I extract out of these people while also servicing these people on my premium box that I want to make sure feels premium. And that's the thing that each one of these have to juggle. Again, PlayStation's in a better position because they get to take their games and go, you know what? Yeah, it comes to PC later, but where the fanfare is when it launches on PlayStation. And it seems like they've been able to do a well enough job at doing that thus far, right?
Right.
And Nintendo, they're just so fucking weird that they don't do any of it. They'll go on mobile, they'll put a Fire Emblem game on there and give you 2 hours notice and still make a ton of money.
Yeah, Mr. Badbit, to your point, like about PlayStation, like part of that, pitch, that sales pitch, right? He's like, yeah, you can get it on PC, right? But you're not going to get the optimized and most optimal, Spider-Man experience. If you want that, you need to come to PlayStation, where you're going to get the optimized version of Spider-Man 2. Or
Yeah,
The Last of Us 2.
Did you see the Spider-Man 2 side by side on the new Xbox ROG Ally? It doesn't look good at all,
by the way, but it's awesome. I don't give a shit.
Well, it's awesome that it's there.
2D,
right? In 2D.
Yeah. I'll be at Spider-Man on the go. I played it on my portal. I'm done. Like, it's for me. It's like that's. First off, the mobile side of it really does excite me. Like, if you tell me the next PSX is just a hybrid console, but it's the same speed or whatever, I'm like, hell yes, brother, sign me up. Like, that's what I want.
So Babbitt, there's a rumor they're working on a PS6 handheld.
When they give me the option of like hybrid or normal standard, I'm like, give me the hybrid. Like that sounds way cooler. I really love the Switch. I
Mhm.
really love the Switch too. I'm not a Switch gamer though, at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And so like, yeah, I want to play my experiences on the go. I'm a busy boy.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I want to take it with me. Like that stuff's exciting. The innovation that we're seeing, and again, I commend Xbox for doing with the ASUS, which is obviously that is what this console is. It's very much like a test for whatever happens next for them. Awesome. It's great. So again, while it's not for me, I won't damn it because
No, listen,
It's
by the way, I
okay.
will say this much. So, Mr. Babbitt, you said it twice, and I wanted to, but I didn't want to interrupt the next speaker. I will say this. No, I will say this. I agree with you. Listen, I've been very firm on this, and you kind of gave a great segue where I'm going to go to Mr. Porter Rock in a second on this. Is if you enjoy the Xbox ROG Ally X and you want that, listen, I'll tell you right now, I'm not here. I am not here to talk you out of it. Go spend that $1,000, right? Everyone spend your money exactly how you wish. I've always felt that way. And that is why, and I've said this before when we were talking about the PS5 Pro. P-Rock, I got to ask you a question. Hey, Brap, can you do me a favor, Brap? Can you mute your mic? We do hear background noise now.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right, buddy. P-Rock, real quick, I got to ask you here, because this kind of gets me. I saw that IGN did their review of the Xbox ROG Ally, and they gave it a 9. Now, listen, by the way, that's fine. That's fine. Whoever reviewed it enjoyed it. But very few comments far in between about the $1,000 price tag. But when they reviewed the PS5 Pro, Porter Rock, which is also a device for enthusiasts, right? They gave it a 7. And it was, who's this for? The price point is not right. This is only for enthusiasts, not for everybody. My point being is the PS5 Pro didn't get that love, and it was, the emphasis was on the dollar amount, which, by the way, if you had a PS5 base, you were getting almost, if it depended on the store and your location, upwards of anywhere from $275 to $300. At one point, they were doing we said it on the show, we had people on the show, $340 at one time when it was originally being announced for a trade-in on $700, right? So you're paying $350 out of pocket to upgrade. This thing's $1,000, right? So, I mean, even if you upgrade and you trading your, I don't know what the Xbox Series X, but you would be crazy to trading your Xbox Series X for the handheld. P-Rock, what did you think when you saw that analysis being done?
I'll be honest, I saw it, but I didn't really care. One is two different reviewers at the same time. And, I always said, reviewers, they have a methodology, they have personal opinion, so I don't really pay attention to IGN. They've been wish-washy for at least the better part of a decade. So I'm not really surprised how they'll complain about price.
I picked on IGN, Porter Rock, but I mean, when you look at there's a good number of reviews out there for this ROG Ally, and a lot of people are like, yeah, it's great. But I mean, the point of the matter is for $1,000, you do have, you know what I mean?
I don't, like I said, one, it's a niche product. It may be great for $1,000. I wouldn't pay $1,000. I wouldn't pay $1,000 for any PC handheld. I mean, why would I pay $1,000 for a trash experience? I just that doesn't make sense to me, right? I know some people say, well, portability, but yeah, but isn't the battery life like 2 hours? I mean, but that's just me. That's just how I see whatever. I just be honest. I just don't need to take much stock in inconsistency with reviewers, and once I see reviewer outlets are inconsistent, I just ignore them. I mean, at that point, I just don't even bother with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I have review after review here. Now, again, some people gave it a decent review, but I mean, what do you think when you hear about, now, shout out to Death Singer. Death Singer, welcome to the show. Death Singer, just to get your opinion on this device, and when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I still firmly say this, right? I enjoy, for the price point of $199, I enjoy the PS Portal, right? But Death Singer, just to get, just I think this will be music to your ears. Most times, if it's not a Nintendo game, I'm playing on the Steam Deck, right? And the Steam Deck is $399. So
that is the correct choice.
Yeah, right?
In every aspect, like PC gamers, which I'm one, tons of people I know, not getting the ROG Ally. The only people I know who are getting it are just people who like to collect the new technology. They're the new technology people, When something new comes out, it doesn't matter what it is. They're like, oh, let me investigate it. It's the new shiny toy, whatever. But most people I know, and most people will just have a Steam Deck because It is seamless transition from your Steam library, and you can also use the Steam Deck as a portable PC. You can hook it up to a monitor and play your games that way. Like the Steam Deck is a very versatile machine, and that's basically all you need. Sure, the ROG Ally is there, and sure, some people are gonna go get it, because they're like, "Oh, the Xbox features." But in reality, most of your games on PC are going to be on Steam anyway, so you may as well just get the one that actually runs the better operating system. So,
Mhm.
and if you really want the bespoke, if you're like, I want the top of the line PC handheld, there's one that costs 1,500. I can't remember the name, but it is the tippy top, and it costs $1.5 grand. Like that is so. If you're gonna spend 1,000 on it, you may as well just spend the extra 500 and get that one, because that one is the best you could possibly get. But it's so ridiculously overpriced. So, I mean, it is what it is. Shout out to the ROG Ally. You'll sell a couple, I'm sure.
Mhm.
ASUS thing, they're gonna be like whatever.
Mhm.
It's no water off their back, because they just use like all the parts and stuff that they already have access to. So,
Well, we already heard. And I'm with you on that, Detsinger. I mean, like I said, I predominantly, when I'm on the go, I will shout out again to Lord Metroid. He gifted me a Silk Song, so I'm going to be playing that on my Switch too tomorrow on the road. But I generally would bring my Steam Deck, and I would have just continued along with my Mafia series. But nonetheless, my point being is, I want to kind of go over to the PlayStation 6. Like, the PlayStation. I can't believe we're even talking about that. I know Mr. Badbit's probably like squeezing that stress ball right now, being like, "Why? Damn it, why?"
Like $1,000 to stress me out.
Well, so Mr. Badbit, I'll start with you, because you are passionate about this. Here's the thing. So we're hearing rumors about 2027. You're hearing rumors about 2028. Okay. Both of those you probably feel are too soon. That's fine. But at the end of the day, people are saying $1,000. And again, this is that echo chamber of people with concerns, things like that. If you listen to Moore's Law is Dead, Moore's Law is dead, and others are. And shout out to Crap Gamer. Crap made a hell of a pitch last week when he was talking about price, and he said it a few weeks even prior to that. Like, if Sony still intends to go from, let's just say 117 million or so was PS4. Let's just use round numbers. Let's say with GTA 6, everything kind of blisters up and it does exactly what they want, and they get to 120 million for this generation. If they intend to even match those numbers, Mr. Babbitt, you cannot tell me that the PS6 is going to be $1,000. We can already see what $1,000 does in the market, right? And it doesn't move. It doesn't move in the console world. And, so there's certain people that want to hold on to prices like 500, 600. I'll even roll with you to 700. Maybe they tried that market out with PS5 Pro, saw how people reacted to it. The tag is out there now, so maybe they're okay with it. But, Mr. Babbitt, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, like Sony right now, what would be their motivation to get a console out in 27 when Xbox is seemingly going maybe third party for their next console and not doing an in-house traditional console?
I don't know, man. The price scares me. That's all it is. It's like price is king. Where will I be in 2027? Where will we all be? I have no idea. I get it. It's an echo chamber, and like social media, very much as we've seen over the last few days or months, whatever, any indication it's not a real place, right? And that those voices don't matter. Take a look at all the hate for Yote is what I'm trying to dig up. It's a lot of it's manufactured, so we have to like take a step back, and I like to kind of think about like less about like what does Twitter say, but what do I feel? And I don't feel like the next console will be $1,000.
No.
I definitely think that they're I think we get a little panic attacky where we think about like the PlayStation 3, and it's like it's $600 in 2020. Was it 2006? Like we think about that, we hyperventilate a little bit, but at the same exact time, it is the realities of the situation. So it's like, what will the reality of the situation be? I bet they have a window. I bet they definitely have like here's where we think the market, what number we think we're going to hit with this. This is what we're going This is the low. This is the high.
Mhm.
This is what where we think it's going to be. I don't think they'll know a price until like legitimately, and I whatever. But like after the midterms and after whatever happens with the terror situation is probably when they actually will have a information for us in regards to the price of the console. I think that's so when we get closer to that console, they will be closer to an answer. And so, if these tech companies or manufacturers, hardware manufacturers, are still moving with 2027, they must know a little something that we may not be knowing on the back end. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's it really does depend on the political situation, whatever 2027, 2028 holds for us.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And the other thing too is when we talk about the price of things in video games, it is just a luxury thing at the end of the day. And so I hope that's something that like Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, all of them Microsoft doesn't care in the last few weeks. So Sony and Nintendo kind of understand that for their audience in terms of like, whatever. Who am I getting? Listen, I'm an existential dread mode. They're going to make games $80. Who am I kidding?
Well,
so
I mean,
it is just what it is at the end of the day.
We all say, and we say that because
someone has a conscience in the room.
I always feel like a lot of people want to say that all the time so that like, in a year or two, they can be like, see, I told you. Like, well, yeah, I mean, the gravitational pull will eventually get us to $80. I mean, that's sure. Of course. But I mean, how fast you get to $80 is one thing. And people go, well, you'll see, because you'll have GTA 6 will be $80 or $90 or $100. Yeah, but not every game is GTA 6. You know what I'm trying to say?
And not every game is Mario Kart World. So again, I hope I hope there's some sane people in the room and they don't go, yeah, but it's God of War. And then they think they can do this.
That's exactly what they're gonna do because because we saw it from 60 to 70. Someone I can't remember who went first.
Well, yeah, but that singer.
The thing is, someone went first, whoever it was. And then all of a sudden, everyone was like, "Oh,
2K went first."
Yeah, 2K went first, and
I always find. I'm never. Corporations are not our friends. Most of the times they're our enemies. So when I say this, it's like when we go, oh, who did it first? It was PlayStation 67. Dude, we had like $60 games for like
20 years.
Well, 20 years. It's like, yeah, that was bound to go up.
Right.
It is one of those things. It's like, I hate to see it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'm not excited. Nobody applauded it.
Right. And it's just, but it's like, I had it for 20 years. It's fine.
But the thing is, it's like everything's going up.
Right.
And the thing is, now everything is going up, and you could blame the tariffs or whatever you want to blame on them. Like the price of consoles increased, the price of this increased, the price of that increased. Okay.
Well, I'll blame them because only with the what is it? The PlayStation 5, $600 here. Gosh dang.
The thing is, though, the thing is, like that's now the baseline because that price ain't coming back down. Now they've raised it. That's just your normal now.
Right.
Like
it's what my Canadians friends say all the time. It's like, yeah, no, we quote unquote recovered, but the prices still remained. It's like
exactly. Even though you raised the prices because of X reason.
Yes.
Well, now that's just the baseline because you're never going back.
Well, now we know we can charge you that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So and shout out, you guys. Maybe it's because I get hungry around this time. But P-Rock, you'll remember this. Back in the day, you go back a long time ago, there was dollar slices of large New York pizza, right? $1.50 slices, right? Man. Now, what happened was, you remember P-Rock? But then the flour, listen, this is what Death Singer and Mr. Babbitt were just saying. Flour spiked. Whatever that reason was, it spiked. They brought those slices to $2.50, $3. And then the flour didn't stay that high. But then when the flour dropped, they were like, wait, but people are paying $2.50 a slice.
They kept it. Yeah.
They kept it. It never went back to $1.50. I'm going way back, but keep me. This is the same idea. So I'm riding right there with you, Mr. Babbitt and Death Singer. I hear you guys on that whole thing. And shout out, yes, it was Take Two. Yes. Go ahead, Death Singer.
The PS6 will be $700.
I could see that.
800 at the top end, and then what they'll do is they'll sell you the handheld for like 300 or 400 or whatever. And you see that.
I want to live in.
No.
That doesn't even make sense. Not to be disrespectful, Death Singer.
I mean, it's going to be a lot cheaper than the actual base.
Well, what do you
console.
think? What do you think, P-Rock? What number did you disagree with him?
So the first step, if this handheld's supposed to play PS5 game, it's not. How would they be able to get a miniaturized, shrunken PS5 at 300 when they can't even sell the big PS5 for 300?
Well,
technology gets more expensive, smaller. Not. It doesn't get cheaper being smaller. That's why, like the ROG Ally and these PC handhelds are $1,000, and they're 1080p. They're not even 4K.
Right.
The thing is,
so that PlayStation handheld is not going to be $300. You can't even get the Switch to be $300.
And I'll take 720. You know what I'm saying?
But then again, that's why I said it was going to be 400. Because I think they could get away with it at 400, because that'll be your entry price, and then the base console, which they released, the PS6, the actual big boy, that's going to be like 800, right? And then they can go, well, here's a handheld, because as much as it probably sucks, you could still play the games. Like, I could still play Elden Ring on my Steam Deck. Is it going to be at 40 FPS or whatever and like 1080p? Sure, but I could still play the game, and it's portable, right? So yeah, you could. So, and also, if it's only meant to play PS5 games, not PS6 natively, then I can see them dropping the price, because technology what you need to run a PS5 game in 4 years' time is going to be so much cheaper than what it is now to run a PS5 game. So you can get away with it.
So let's talk about that point. Then why is the PS5 more expensive? It's 5-year-old technology.
Well, it's because they claimed tariffs.
Because profit. No, profit. That's profit. I know we could specifically say tariffs. The answer is profit. That's
of course.
They're not. So what I'm saying is they're not going to sell this handheld at a loss because of one reason: PlayStation primary business is not handhelds. It's just not. The PlayStation business is their console. That is the market deciding product. So this new PSP will not, or the new PlayStation, whatever you want to call it, that's not going to be the entry point for PlayStation, because it's not. That's not what PlayStation primarily is. PlayStation is primarily a console brand. The PlayStation 6 is the point of entry for the next generation.
Yeah,
nothing
okay.
else.
Okay,
nothing else.
But then
everything else is a companion. Everything. The portable, the portal, VR, all companions devices. But then PlayStation 6 is the de facto product for
it is the de facto product. But riddle me this: what's the price then? Because the handheld has to be cheaper than the base console because it's a handheld, right? And if you're saying the handheld can't be 400 because of the technology,
let me ask you this: Is the ROG Ally cheaper than the Series X?
No.
All right then.
What? So you think the handheld will be more expensive than the PSX?
If it depending on the power, I mean, we got to think about it. The handheld has to be miniaturized. So if you want to run powerful games, like you're not going to see expensive. You're not going to see a powerful handheld for $300-400, man. And again, if it's not the main product to establish your market, you can sell an expensive handheld, right? As long as your strategic goal isn't like if you're trying to sell 50 million, like if Sony's trying to sell 50 million, handhelds, that they're gonna have issues. They're gonna have problems because they're gonna have to sell at a loss. They're gonna have to pick a lane.
I agree.
They're gonna have to pick a lane if they want good performance, the good power, especially if they want at least some PlayStation 6 games, right, to run on this thing. They're gonna have to sell at a loss because you're not gonna make profit day one and still be at $400. You got to pick a lane. They got to pick a lane, right? I don't think they're gonna pick the lane of taking a loss on a handheld. It's not necessary, right? The main focus is their PlayStation 6. I could see Sony deciding to take a loss on that, right? So I'm not saying that they won't sell at 700, right? Because we can't guarantee anything. But I can see Sony be like, hey, this is the market console establishing market. This is the console that's going to establish the market. We need to establish a market so that way when people move on from their PS5s and their PS5 Pros, they're going to buy a PlayStation 6. We can't price that movement out the way. So we're going to eat up a little loss. We're going to eat up $100, $150, maybe $200 per unit to get it down to the right price point, right? And then eventually, as they do a year later, year and a half later, revisions, right? they're no longer taking a loss. That's been the strategy, but they do that because it's not really making money off the console. It's getting that storefront into the market. It's getting that storefront into people's homes. That PSP portable, that's not the main device to get a storefront in people's home. It's just not. That's just not how it is, right? It's really Sony's like, hey, let's give PlayStation gamers the opportunity to play games on the go. And if that's what you want to do, fine, here it is. Here's your device, $700, $800, maybe even $900. Majority is going to be mad. Well, I'm not buying this, but that's okay. It's probably not a device for the majority. It's probably a device just like the PC handheld strategy, right?
Right.
I mean, Singer, we got 7 million PC handhelds total, and that's across Lenovo, MSI Claw, Steam Deck.
See, I agree.
We got 4 manufacturers. Hold on. We got 4 manufacturers across a period of 3 years and combined 7 million sales globally. It's a niche product. It's not a 50. The only one who has to have a handheld as a mainstream device that must sell in the millions, in the 100 millions,
is Nintendo. Yeah.
And notice what they're doing. They got moderately in terms of performance, moderate, right? It's not a powerful handheld at all. So they're able to get a 450. And guess what they focus on? Exclusives. They're not focusing on getting games that you can play better elsewhere. And that's one thing we have to remind of. Because Sony, if you guys paid attention, when Sony tried to push PSP and Vita, the number one problem, I don't know if people remember, but the number one problem with PlayStation is the games they were trying to push just were better on the console. So people were like, why do I want to play worse version of PlayStation console games? Give me the exclusives. Give me games I can't play anywhere else. That's why Nintendo handhelds were so successful. The games on these handhelds, they didn't look great. They were nowhere near on the level of the GameCube. They were nowhere near on the level of N64, but they were exclusives. They were experiences you can't get anywhere else. And I think that's the main thing of why PC handhelds will never be mainstream. They are de facto worst experiences of stuff you can get everywhere else. They're the worst experience of your PC games. They're the worst experience of your console gamer, and they cost more. Like the people who bought ROG Ally, you're not going to get 50 million people buying that thing. Why would 50 million
that's what I was
people
gonna,
pay $1,000 for something that sucks?
That's why when they were like
on the Xbox Series X.
That's why when they were like, "Hey, it's sold out everywhere," and I was like on Twitter, I was like, what's the how many did they actually have? Right.
You sold out 5 boxes, right?
It's like,
and half of them are the guys who's trying to resell it, and the other half is people who have channels and enthusiasts, whatever. But the point is this: handheld without unique exclusive experience is simply a device that plays the worst versions of your games.
Yes.
So how many people really want that device? Sure, you got people. I could play on the go. Sure, but how big is that audience? And we've seen it already. 7 million.
Well, the only counter Puerto Rock, the only counter I have to you, and you made a really good point. I'm not saying I'm right here. I'm really not. But when you look at your counter to Death Singer was look at the ROG Ally X, and you said, is that cheaper than the Series X? And the answer is no. However, when you look at the Steam Deck, so we don't know what Sony's putting together here. They're not necessarily saying it's going to be this powerhouse, right? So to be honest with you, I do think that you would see, I still think a $400 handheld from PlayStation, I still think that's a hefty price for people, because a lot of people are still going to buy a PS6 at some point in the lifespan, right? Plus that. So if you're at $600 or $700 for a PS6 and then $400, that's you're still over $1,000 deep for those two items, right? That's a lot to ask for that console gamer. So I could very easily still see their handheld, especially with PSSR and other types of things they're working on right now, where the R&D money is expensive and you're going to pay for that. But at the end of the day, maybe that's what makes the component side of it a little bit cheaper on what they're working on with AMD and the software with PSSR. I don't know. I mean, that could be wrong. But what do you, P-Rock, do you think 2027 or 2028 for PS6? Like, and you can answer.
Well, let's say this. Well, yeah. So real quick, let's look at Steam Deck. Steam Deck, they're still running on the old one. We got to look at what the new Steam Deck supposedly is being made What is that going to come out? And then you'll have a better idea of how much handhelds will cost. Once the new one's produced, then we'll be like, okay. And then this is number 2. But even with the pretty decent price, because I think Steam Deck is really priced. What is it? 400? I think Div Singer might know. What's the price of Steam Deck?
It's 400, but then someone in the chat just wrote that it's as cheap as $320.
It is. Yeah, it is. It depends which one. If the 400 one is
what's the cheapest?
OLED. The cheapest is like 300, 350.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we got it. Okay, good. How many people play on Steam? 150 million?
A lot. Yeah.
Well, there's 135 million accounts. There's 135 million.
Okay, 135 million account. Got a Steam Deck that's $350. And the damn thing sold 3 million over the course of 3 years. There you go. That tells you everything you need to know. 150 million people. Yet, and I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not trying to say
no. You're saying it's a niche. It's
what
niche.
I'm saying is it's niche. That's the key.
Yes.
Not a lot of people want this. You have 130 million Steam gamers. They could buy 350. I mean, a handheld for 350. That's not bad. That's not a bad price at all. If you really want to enjoy gaming on the go,
right?
They're not buying it. I'm not saying the product is bad. It's just not interesting. I don't think
Sony is in the business anymore. Where the one thing you said, Porter Rock, I really was riding along with you. The only thing is that I don't think Sony's in the business right now anymore. Not in this state of affairs with the world. I don't think they are going to make something like what's going on right now, where ASUS and Xbox collaborated, where they have a $900 handheld that's amazing. It's a powerhouse, and it's for the enthusiast. I think they still want to get that. I think they want that 3 to 4 million in sales for a handheld that's like between $350 and $400. And they'll make the adjustments, P-Rock, to make that affordable, because realistically, that's just how you're going to get it in even 3 or 4 million hands, right? You said let's see what's happening with Steam Deck 2. You're right. But let's look at the Steam Deck that's out there right now, selling 3 to 4 million units, right, out of 150 million potential customers, right? So they want to at least get to that 2, 3, 4 million mark, and they're not going to do that at anything in the world close to $1,000 in the handheld market. It's not happening.
So they have to make a decision. They
right.
have to make
Correct.
a decision.
Correct.
What's the power?
Right.
Right. But they're aiming at PS5 minimum, and PS5 is $550.
Yes.
You can't get PS5 to $300. If you could get,
but you can get. Wait a minute, though. But P-Rock,
they would have done it.
But P-Rock, can't you get a PS5 game to play at 1080p for cheaper?
Remember, they got the power saving mode. You run your game
right.
a little
worse. Yeah, but hold on. But some of these. I'm just asking.
I'm asking too. I'm not.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just use. We'll use Steam Deck since it's the cheap. Like, we'll use Steam Deck. Steam Deck is the cheapest, right? And then definitely Candace. Can all PlayStation games run great on the Steam Deck?
Great. No. Run. Yes.
Well, I mean,
run. Listen, if you're a PlayStation gamer and you're buying a PlayStation handheld,
right,
you probably just don't want run. You want a well-performing game. At $350, can the Steam Deck run PlayStation games? Well, even at 1080p.
It actually can. Some of them it can. Yeah.
I don't know about
not good enough.
Well, 1080. I don't know about. Doesn't it?
I'm saying every single one of them.
Doesn't it do?
We got to think about.
No, wait. But the Steam Deck does.
The PlayStation consumer playing a PlayStation device. They don't want ad hoc. Oh, you got to accept. No. I'm buying a PlayStation. I'm playing a PlayStation.
P-Rock,
this thing better run good.
P-Rock, don't get me wrong. I know where you're coming from, but hear me out real quick. You have the Switch 2 when it's docked. Okay. Plays better than when you take it on the road. So the customer knows the minute they take that handheld on the road what they're sacrificing, right? I'm just using an example, right? And so when you have the Steam Deck doesn't even. I don't even think the Steam Deck gets a 1080p. It's like 800p, right?
Yeah.
That singer. So
yeah.
So my point being is that you listen. There's people who have 4090s and 5090s. That when they're gonna go like like me. I take it and I play Mafia, the old country, right? Like it's not the same experience I get on my PC, but I know that taking it on the road. So Porter Rock, that's why the sacrifice to get the price lower. The customer knows that they're going to play a PS5 game. They're not going to be playing with ray tracing and this and that and this and that, like because that's what the PS5 Pro and the PS6 is for, and that's why that price tag is there.
So now we go back. So now we go back to the original problem I said. You expect mass people to adopt to play games that are worse than what they're playing at home.
Not mass. Think about it. If you want to hit 150 million, if you want 150 million people to buy the PS6, okay? then I think they would be happy with 3 to 5 million owning a handheld. The same way Steam is happy with 150 million going to 3 to 5 million. But they made sacrifices on the hardware to get that dollar point right that satisfies the customer enough on the road. Because P-Rock, let's be honest, okay? Do you want to play Ghost of Yotai entirely on a 7-inch screen? No matter how good the ray tracing is? Absolutely not.
But most people don't either.
Right. That's why it's a niche product that they are going to. So shout out to Eric, the producer. He just wrote me. He's like, Mooch, this is one thing that people have been saying for a long time. I'm a customer for this, but I know a lot of people in the chat and probably the panel aren't going to agree. He says, why wouldn't you take a PS6 and a handheld and do a bundle for $1,000? Now, listen, everyone's been waiting for that handheld console bundle since the Xbox One PS4 era. It's never transpired. But shout out to Eric, the producer. He's just throwing numbers out there. But yeah, I mean, P-Rock, do you see what I'm saying? I'm not debunking what you're saying.
I'm going to say this because I think Corey Massey, I think the real reason for the PS5 handle is not even for us. It's not really for us. This is why I think it's really for one primary reason. Listen, that's Japan. I'm saying you can enjoy it, but I think the main target is Japan. No PlayStation console is going to take back Japan. That's done. It's over. No matter what, PlayStation 6, 7, 8, 9, they can't. Sony has to release a handheld.
That's correct.
And it has to be comparable, right? It has to be comparable.
Right?
And I think comparable, like something like.
But if it's
like
1080p
product,
if it's 1080p and it does all PS5 games
for Japan,
think about it. Their competition is Nintendo.
But to play PS5 games, right? I don't see how you could play a PS5 games at $350. Let me put it this way: Why is even the cheapest ROG Ally? The cheapest ROG Ally is like $546. Why is that one $546? 600. Why is that $600? Then if you could play Series X or PS5 games, for $350, then why didn't ASUS do it at $350?
I mean, kind of like the reason why like PlayStation put out the Portal, and
that's right. That's where I was just going to go, Mr. Babbitt.
The Portal's 200 and doesn't have anything in there.
No, and I think that.
So think about that real quick. The Portal's 200. So you're telling me for an extra $150, you could get processors in that sucker?
Right. So
that's what I'm saying.
You're saying no, they can't.
Well, what I'm saying is this: if you could release a $400 handle that can play PS5 games at decent performance, then why isn't ASUS MSI doing it?
Well, if you look at
why aren't they doing it? Why are their stuff $600 at the base? Base one.
ASUS has decided, Porter Rock, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an ASUS expert. I'm not saying that. But ASUS made a decision, I believe, even on their cheapest handheld unit, P-Rock, they're hitting like 1440p or something. I mean, they're hitting like they're doing things out there to make or 1080p with unbelievable right. I mean, they're hitting. My point is, ASUS is aiming for that higher tier handheld.
No, but even then, like ASUS would never take a loss on their products. Like, for example, like ASUS make graphics cards, motherboards, monitors. They all of their stuff is sold at cost. Like they're not gonna make a BX20M motherboard
So your argument is the reason why like the Steam Deck is starting at like, I know you could get refurbished ones really cheap, like $300-$400, is because Steam is saying we're subsidizing the price because we like this technology. We think there's something here, and that's what a lot of this is. Like this whole thing is manufacturers asking the question: is there an audience here, and is it growing, and is it something that we feel like these consumers will buy more games, right? So it really comes down to like the reason why I talked about the Portal to begin with was PlayStation was very surprised of how well the PlayStation Portal sold. And I think the PlayStation Portal is informing where they take this next handheld. Because if I remember correctly, they were thinking about going into the hardware side of portables and making a dedicated piece of hardware, but then kind of pulled back with the Portal, and then we're taken aback by how many of those units sold. So I think when we get down to like who wants to play worse, whatever, it's like at the end of the day, remember, we're talking about the Switch, and the Switch right now has a game called Pokemon ZA, and it's been made for $10 by 100 people, and it's gonna sell one of the best games this year, right? So people, there is an audience of people that go, listen, I don't care about the best fidelity in the world or this, that, and the other thing. I do find that there is something here for me, though, that gets me interested in this hardware of just taking it on the go. Like, you talk about who wants to play Ghost of Yote on a 7-inch screen. Me, dude. I got a lunch break, right? I'm not hitting main story, but I'm doing some side quests, right? So, like, there are people out there. It's how will that audience grow? Will it grow? And yeah, what's their expectations? I don't think anybody's thinking that the next, handheld out of PlayStation or whatever, or anyone that's not Nintendo is going to sell upwards of 50 million units. But I think they think that there is a dedicated group of people that they can consumer base that will buy this and are deeply entrenched in the ecosystem enough that will continue to buy games on that hardware. I think one of the things about the Steam Deck, which I wish we had Brap in here because he's like the encyclopedia, is like people that buy Steam Deck are chronic purchasers of Steam games. And so I think they see the targeted behavior of those consumers and go, well, there's got to be some of those consumers here on my side. And that's probably what gets them excited. How much it will be, that I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But $300, man, maybe like 12 years ago, where like our presidents were wearing diapers, but like it's like a long time ago that would have been $300, but not now. Like we're talking about like this.
I don't think
gonna probably be a beefy boy. And
also consider this: when has Sony ever? I ain't gonna say ever.
Yeah.
But when you look at what they've done, they do things premium. What I mean by that, look at VR2, premium.
Yeah.
The PS5 console, premium. The Portal, even as a remote device, it's premium. I don't see them going with their handheld. It's going to be, just a moderate, kind of good enough. I don't see them.
That's an interesting take.
That's not in their DNA. They don't release good enough devices. They try to bring that nice premium experience.
Yes.
That nice screen, good controls, nice, well-running games. I mean, look at all the stuff they did for VR. And VR, listen, PlayStation VR 1 only sold 3 million. And you saw they went balls to the walls for the VR 2.
Yeah.
They could have just said, you know what? VR 1 only sold 3 million. Let's just come out with something a little bit more moderate, something good enough. I mean, hell, the meta's not all that. So we could do something like that, release something to equivalent of meta,
right,
and release it for $300, and then see if we could. They didn't. The damn thing was more expensive than the console.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I don't see Sony being that. Something 300-ish. Nah, I don't see them doing that. That thing's going to be a premium experience.
Listen, P-Rock,
for a handheld.
And they abandoned that thing as soon as they launched it. So like. They like. I mean, you're right. And I love the PSVR too.
It's a great piece of tech, to be honest with you. Yeah. And listen, people go, "Oh, Sony ignored it." Listen, there's like 250, there's probably 300 games on it right now. So people can say what they want. That's fine. There's plenty of games out there. But yeah, P-Rock, you make a good point. I'll be honest with you. So the type of gamer I am. I know the type of gamer. I actually want it to be that premium handheld, right? I wasn't advocating for it to be $300. I'm saying to you though, like I'm just trying to think of the way this new management is at Sony, right? These guys are looking at every dollar and every cent right now, as they probably always have been for the most part. But this team is really looking hard at it. I don't see how they're saying, listen, unless we're okay and we're gonna make $100 or $200 off of each of these premium product handhelds. I don't see how you're not going to sell a lot of them, but like you said, they had a $500 price tag, $550 price tag on the PSVR 2. They didn't sell a lot of those either. So you make a good point with that. That's an accessory that was complementary to the console that you did not need to have, much like a handheld. But I'm just thinking that if you want to compete in Japan, like you said, you cannot compete in Japan against Nintendo at $700+ for a premium experience in a handheld. Cannot do it. Won't work. It'll be a failure day one in Japan.
You know what? You might. I would say 90%. You're right, but I think it has a better chance in the console. Right?
Yeah. Okay, I see. Right? Okay.
Like, let's say, let me put it this way: if you're at $700 and you got a PS5, right? What I'm hoping for that Sony doesn't put a mandate that PlayStation 6 games have to run on this. Like just let it be more open. Like whatever can run can go. Like maybe AA games, indies, and stuff like that. But anyway, if you got this portable whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could connect to your TV and you get a good, I think Japan will be responsible for that. I think Japan wants that mobile experience. They want the mobile PlayStation experience, be able to play the PS5 games and stuff like that. And I think they'll be fine with that. I don't know if 700 is a price point. I can't tell you Japan's, flavor and pricing, but then again, power has never been a big thing. I mean, it's a hard place, it's really a hard spot with this handheld. Like it's just, they're just, when you look at it holistically, it's really only Nintendo can sell a lot of handhelds.
Yeah.
Really, they're the only ones that can honestly make a market out of a handheld. Everyone else. I mean, the closest was PSP. It sold 80 million, but the game sales were atrocious. The attachment rate, it wasn't that good. People were jailbreaking it. So that's kind of like I look at that as not par for the course, but kind of like a lightning in a bottle. But it wasn't even that successful from a software selling standpoint. It's just when I look at handheld gaming, it's really Nintendo, and everyone else is just If I mean PC gaming handheld is niche.
Okay, so
love it for those that buy it. Okay, that's fine, but that's not a market mover. It's just a small group of people around the world just enjoying a product, right? So this PlayStation handheld, I'm like, I'll be honest, I don't know. I understand what you're saying. You somebody who enjoys PlayStation on the console and they buy a handheld, maybe their habits of buying more games because now it just adds to the habit of buying more games, maybe more indies, whatever.
Again, if we're in a mature market, right, and people are the it's not moving or ticking upwards as it once were, we're gonna try to find ways of making more money off of the consumer base, and PlayStation's been doing a really good job of doing that as well, while not so much so of like doubling the price of their subscription services, right? They'll sell you on like plates, controllers, a concert that they'll cancel on you.
They'll cancel. Sorry, Mr. Babbitt.
It's okay. We just had plans, and so it's they do a bit better job than most of doing it. Now, again, do they still raise prices on you? Absolutely, they're not your friends, but. Yeah, I do think if the target is how do we make more money off the audience that we have, it's a way, man. It's a way.
Yeah. So I got a couple of super chats here. Go ahead, Portal.
Just one last thing.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, we'll make this easier if we actually had a number with Portal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like if Sony goes, hey, new fiscal year, Portal's at 35 million. Then we're like, holy shit. Like, really? That many people want to play PlayStation 5 games on the go? And they sold then we have a gauge. We kind of like, okay, there's a good appetite. But if they come out and says, oh, we got 5 million. All right, this is pretty much in line with every other portable device, not Nintendo. You got a
and it's $200. So if it's $5 million,
it's $200. So it might even be less.
If it's $5 million or less than $200, we know that a $900. We know exactly where a $900 PlayStation port.
It's a zero. It's a zero.
Right. It's zero.
It's not happening.
Right.
So
that's what I was going to ask you guys.
If
how realistic?
Portal did.
Yeah.
It could gauge a appetite.
Mm-hmm.
We could get a better appetite on what's happening. We have no number.
Listen, do you think the rumors? I'm not even. Listen, this isn't discrediting anybody. I'm sure people heard about it. I'm sure they're looking into it. I'm sure there's R&D being looked at, maybe even going further. Do you really believe in your heart of hearts the next generation is going to have a PlayStation handheld? Do you really think so? That's not like maybe a port. Maybe we'll get another Portal. But
no, I think it is because when this all started way back, remember the Portal was what was the name of the project?
It was shoot.
What was it called? When they leaked it and they said it's Project, but it was called Project Light. It was
Project
something
Light. Yes.
No, but it was a name.
something-
I forgot the name.
Something. But it was light. It was something light, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was light. Yeah, it was like
Hold on, I'll
meaning the
Google
light
it.
version
Hold on,
of
yeah.
this. So if they're saying this is the light version Portal, then what's the heavy version?
That's
I'm
what.
saying?
Right.
Yeah. So I think the handheld is in play. It's gonna happen. I think really
Was it Project Q?
Q and Q Lite. There you go.
Yeah.
So they said there's a Project Q and a Q Lite. Q Lite ended up being the Portal. So what's the Q?
Yeah.
That's the handle. It's really what Sony's messaging, what they're actually trying to go after. That's it. My nervousness is they're trying to use Project Q kind of like a pseudo Switch type objective. And then that means PlayStation 6 games also has to work on this thing, which then effectively means we got our own Xbox Series S. Congratulations, guys. We just created the Series S, which is trash.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
Now, which I don't think they're going to do that.
PlayStation already came out and said that two SKU thing doesn't work, and it doesn't.
Yeah. What I do think it's going to play its PS5 games, right? And people may say, oh, then that sucks because it's going to be outdated quickly. No, I think what we're pretty much learning is PS5 cross-gen is going to be around for a long while.
Yep.
If you thought PS4 was around, overstayed their welcome, stand by.
100%.
PS5 is going nowhere.
Stand by.
Their name's on the deed. Their name's on the deed. They own that house. They ain't going nowhere.
100%. Yeah. No, and like
we're stuck with PS5.
they've alluded to that so many times as well when it comes to like the ecosystem of PlayStation and how many active members on the ecosystem and all that. Like they're gonna have tiers of boxes. And then again, remember last quarter when all the guys were in their quarterly call meeting, they were like, hey gang, we're talking about beyond the console. So like they have a lot of plans. We just got to see which ones actually come to fruition. And then when they come to fruition, what they look like. And I think insights like that, how much did the Portal sell for PlayStation to be as excited with that is a really good question to ask someone like a Matt Piscatella or a analytical, folk out there. If that's like, what does success mean to them if we can gauge the accessories and all that jazz?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's that R&D. I think that's that question that's happening behind the scenes. Shout out to Scoop. This is when we were talking about the media and how they were just basically, a lot of the media outlets were giving 4 out of 5 stars, 9 out of 10s for this Xbox ROG Ally. Shout out to Scoop. He says, it's simple, you guys. It's PlayStation hate. It's probably a little bit more than just that, Scoop, but I see where you're coming from. Phil McCook, he says, it's a mid to low tier laptop with a weird shape. It was funny. I was watching just before the show went live. I saw, I believe it was Kind of Funny, and it was just a quick thing on Twitter that Kind of Funny posted themselves, and it was just a quick analysis from each person. I don't know if one person, maybe Tim, liked it. I can't remember, but a lot of people didn't really care for it. As far as the Xbox ROG Ally, they said the ergonomics didn't feel great. The buttons felt loud and sticky, not responsive. And then, of course, the Windows. The fact that Windows is the shadowing, OS over it just made it feel very discombobulated. I think it was, shout out to Andy Cortez. I think he said something like, I still prefer my Steam Deck. Something to that nature. I'm paraphrasing. Shout out to Babor. Babor every week with this $2 super show. Shout out to Babor. The show can start now. Babor says, can anybody on the panel please explain to me Elden's Ring story? I think he's going back and forth, I think, with people in the chat about the whole Ghost of Yotai, I think, or something to that nature. We did that last week, the great Babor. Babor, that was last week's. Mr. Babbitt, did you have a comment? I heard you. I didn't want to cut you off.
I mean, about the Ghost of Yote, hey, don't worry, man. It's just like 5 people that can't get laid. They're angry at women that won't have sex with them. Elden Ring story. Listen, go.
Dude, Ghost of Yote is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
I said this
it's phenomenal,
3 weeks ago, and shout out to Nib. He couldn't make it tonight. It is very early in the morning. Shout out to also the Death Singer for being here very early in the morning over there in the UK. But like Nib used. He's like, he goes, Mooch, you got to play one game at a time. I went from playing 3 or 4 games. I took the other 2, put them aside. Like I said, I'm not even playing my Mafia. I'm not playing Mafia. I was going through that whole thing too, but I put that down. I am playing exclusively just Silent Hill F, which, by the way, that's probably my primary right now. I'm playing that one through. It's Halloween season. You know me. I'm big into zombies and all that great stuff. I love horror games. But Ghost of Yotai, I'm about 30 hours into Ghost of Yotai, and it is It is a phenomenal game. It is a true successor to Tsushima. Yeah, the hate out there. I'm with you, Mr. Babbitt. It's not warranted. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it
game's
does.
great.
It does. It's these people, they make money off of anger. And like real talk, I like what Nib said too. It's like this is the same version of the weird shit that we saw with Hogwarts Legacy. Most people did not care. The boycott did not work.
No.
And then those people don't look rational, and whatever argument
Hogwarts Legacy, I think, sold 35 million copies.
Right. It outsold Call of Duty, so congratulations. So it's like, it's one of those things we've really got to realize that we're in.
I do hope that Mr. Babbitt, though, I do wish that Sony, and I did have this as a topic here as well, as they're trying to, but I do hope that Sony releases some sales numbers on Yotai soon.
Oh, well, I mean, it's the same thing with Spider-Man. Right, they said it like 3 months after the fact, right, in a quarterly meeting thing, and yeah, that's when they'll talk.
I mean, we'll see it also a month later, when Circana and other figures start to come out, so we'll see something soon.
And we're starting to see it, and it's strong, and that's great. That's amazing.
It sold very, very well in Japan, which is usually an indicator that if it does well over there, because that's a tough market, like P-Rock was just saying. Okay, if it's selling well over there, it's definitely going to probably do quite well over here. Kiap 901, he is Porter Rock, stop it. Most gamers are on PC, different rigs. He says handhelds, setups everywhere. Consoles had their run, but the audience isn't growing anymore. It's stagnant. Tell me I'm wrong. 150 million max. So I think that was, P-Rock, that's when we were talking about numbers on PC. This was about 20 minutes ago. Shout out to Kiap 901. He was right in the great P-Rock. Ocelot says, I'm behind 18 minutes, but gaming prices should have went up way before. 80% of the U.S. currency was printed during the Biden administration. They were behind the 8 ball then. So Ocelot says that we're probably...
Don't root for things to be more expensive, man.
Don't root for that.
What is that? They printed money. They should have charged us down. They should never root for... They should have took more money out of me. What the fuck type of argument's that? I'm sorry, I'm cussing on so much.
Shout out to Ocelot. Ocelot, he said we should have been paying more way back in the day then, Mr. Badbit.
2 Starbucks coffees cost $15. You want to know how I know?
Dude,
I bought that with a $15 gift card from Starbucks.
Yes.
It's nuts and it's stupid.
Yes.
Stop passing the blame. It's just there's no excuse. I don't care.
No, you're right. You're right. And before any of this other discussion on why things are going up in cost, Starbucks was always charging $6 to $7 or $8 a cup of coffee.
Remember, we're like $4 for a grande, and now it's like $6.
It's $6 now, yeah.
Woo-wee.
I got news for you, man. It's getting absurd. The great Babor Country is back. He says, "Hell no, bro."
Now there's frog people in Portland. Come on.
There are. It's great. Shout out to Mr.
Amphibians are roaming the streets.
Shout out to Mr. Badbit.
$15. Cats and dogs getting together. It's anarchy.
I think podcasting's like that therapy, Mr. Badbit, right? You just let it all out.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I love it. Shout out to Babor. He says, "Hell no, bro." He goes, DS2, Death Stranding 2, Yotai are not on PC. Trust me, they are the best games released this year. Quality, graphics, innovative gameplay, sound, story. PC gaming is second class at best. No GTA 6 either. Death Singer just woke up. That's it.
Have you played Hades too?
Thank you. It's like people are so up their own ass thinking PlayStation makes the best things in sliced bread. It's like, if you want to be technical, Rockstar, Red Dead 2 still holds the benchmark. Because ain't nothing they're putting out can hold a candle to that. You boot that bitch up put that at 4K, right?
Mm-hmm.
Throw all the bells and whistles on your PC. That thing is that.
But Death Singer,
just not.
Death Singer,
actually, better yet, it's like Ghost of Yote looks really great. Have you seen Cyberpunk with path tracing?
Yeah, but Death Singer, you do know Death Singer. First of all, in the world and bubble that we all exist in the gaming community, I'm with you. But I do have to say to you, there's a lot of people who own PCs that can't do all those beautiful things to their game because their PC doesn't have the card or the CPU or the other items, the RAM, to be able to handle that. So, I mean, I think But
then again, it's like, sure, But like, there's tons of great games that released this year. Like,
Oh, sure.
Expedition 33 is still Game of the Year. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is fantastic. Avowed is great.
Yes.
Hades 2 is freaking amazing.
Deathsinger, I'm glad you brought that up. Are you playing Hades 2, Deathsinger?
I picked it up.
Okay,
because I purchased it when it was in early access, and then it went into 1.0.
No,
because initially it was only on Steam in early access.
Do you guys feel like because it's on Nintendo and PC, it's not on PS5 or Xbox yet? I think it will eventually get there sometime in 2026.
It will eventually.
But do you feel? I feel like Hades is not getting the love that it would have if it was everywhere day one on that situation.
So funny, dude, because we were talking about that on the trophy room a few weeks back. Kyle quelled my concerns a little bit.
What do you got?
He's like, he's like, listen, like the concurrent player base on Steam's around like 70,000 at that time, and he's just like, listen, it's the same thing. Like it came out on Switch first. We didn't really care about it. We didn't know. Then it came to PlayStation. It was in our ecosystem, so the SEO started to serve that more to us, and we were more aware of it. So it just cropped up more. So I think it's one of those things of like, we're not Nintendo sickos, and so we're not playing it on on launch on Switch 2. But like, I'm seeing a ton of people on Nintendo that are really loving it. I'm waiting to buy it physically in November, but I was the legit same like you.
So when you said physically in November, so I assume you mean physically on Switch.
Yep, I'm gonna triple dip. I have this on the Steam Deck. I played it when going to, I think, PAX this year, so it was right young. And I wasted like 6 hours on a train. Like, I was like, well, this is gonna be great when I play it on PlayStation. Yeah.
Speaking of that, Hades 2, that's a selling point of the Steam Deck. Games like that, because they are super duper. Like Steam Deck and PC handhelds are mainly for the like indie games, or the more, if you're playing strategy games or RPGs or stuff like that. And it's like Hades 2, Expedition 33, they're perfect games for it. Let's say Blueprints. Like a lot of these games are really well suited for it. And Hades 2 is fantastic, but people ain't giving it time of day. But I understand why, because it's not available on their favorite consoles.
I will say, if we wanted to attack, listen, because I get it, we have a new enemy, Xbox, done, right? We need a new foe to beat and combat, and it is the Steam sickos. We need to trademark that, okay? Listen, clip this guy on the internet. Listen to me here. Take a look right now. All right, Kyle showed me this. Take a look at some of the most popular demos in the Steam Next Fest. They're all porno games, guys.
Oh, wow.
These guys are gooning on Steam. They're gooning while gaming. All right? Kyle showed me Femboy Simulator. That's all I need to say.
Well, what you mean? There's worse than that on it. Because Steam is an open platform. And the thing is, a lot of people who are into that kind of thing, they'll goon on Main Street, and they don't.
And I'm not here to yuck on anyone's yum. Okay, I'm not.
There's a saying.
But here's the thing. Okay, I am gonna draw the line. I am gonna start kink shaming when we're gooning while we're gaming. All right. Do whatever you want. But leave it off Steam. Leave it off my video games.
No, because I'm gonna have Tifa walking around butt naked, and there's nothing you do about it. So.
You're not gonna
see. That's something I wouldn't say out loud, but you did, and I'm happy for you. But we gotta stop these Steam sickos.
You're never gonna talk. You're never gonna talk Deathsinger out of that one.
I'm never gonna. If I meet this man in real life, I'm never shaking his hand.
Hey, Mr. Babbitt, right? Have you played the definitive version of Stellar Blade, where she's in the birth? But like, it's the best game ever. Like,
Jesus Christ,
he doesn't hold. Deathsinger's not going to hold back.
No, he's not. Listen, I've played Stellar Blade, and I don't know, man. And I've platinumed it. I've platinumed Stellar Blade. All right, my hands are up in the air, by the way. And listen, she's an attractive young woman, but I'm not like, it'd be even great. Somehow we even got less clothing on.
He was content with the clothing that was given.
Well, actually, what's hilarious about that is like when it initially released on PlayStation, and they were all complaining that they censored Stellar Blade, like they added extra clothes and stuff, and I was like, wait till that bitch comes to PC. Like, you ain't seen Who cares if there's an extra bit of clothing? Just pick it
Who
up.
cares if there's fishnets on, her breasts, man? Isn't there more?
All right,
What's wrong? Like, seriously,
I'm
what's
gonna
wrong with
listen.
people,
But you got.
I'm sorry.
But it's okay. Babor is back, and he's got a point here. He
Go
says
on.
there's more work that goes into the Oni story, which an Oni story is one of the Yotai 6 for you that may not be playing, than the entire Expedition 33 or Hades 2. More lines of code, production quality. Don't say this BS. And then he says, by the way, that was just one of the Yotai 6 targets. Shout out to the great Babor country. Babor always is very serious. Very serious.
I fully broke. I'm so sorry, guys. As someone who is fighting the good fight on my podcast with the Expedition 33, hype that my co-hosts have. That's their favorite game of the year. I gotta say, we gotta stand for our girl Atsu because she is incredible. The Oni story the Oni story, I had to put my controller down. Real talk, I get it. I'm a pansy, whatever. I had to put my controller down at one scene. I had to walk downstairs. I had to hug a loved one. It was I was like, listen, man, you just mean so much to me, big dog. They're like, what's happening? I'm like, just to let you know, if anything happened to you, I just, I'd murder three to six people for you.
Three of the Yotai 6. Yes, you would absolutely take care.
I would learn karate. So it's just, all that stuff. It's awesome. Like,
So, Mr. Badbit,
but just because there's more lines of code and more people working on it and more money being poured in doesn't also dissuade these other great games that people like. Yeah,
and it also doesn't definitively mean a better story either, because you have to fundamentally look at it. It's like, oh, well, what is the overall arching plot? And then you have to go, well, also, what kind of story are you looking for? If you're looking for an RPG, sad.
Also, are you even just looking for a story at all?
Right.
But also, are you looking for a story that is like, what's in your wheelhouse? Like, do I particularly like this story? No. Is this story better than this story? But it's like when I compare Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Expedition 33. Like, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is my grounded, I'm in reality. This is like 15th century Bohemia. Shit is a bit more down to earth. We're in Expedition 33, it's a bit more sad. The people are dying. Well, obviously, when the age goes and then all the people of that age dies. I mean, nah, the game's been out enough and you probably played it. So
no. I haven't beaten it yet.
No spoilers, Death Singer.
No spoilers.
Sorry.
Listen.
To be fair, that wasn't.
So, Death Singer, you missed the pre-show, and I don't know if Mr. Badbit was there because he was who I was talking to. Listen, guys, we usually do a 4-hour show. I do have 2 more topics I have to talk about. One being with the great Mr. Badbit, which we're going to go to right now as well. But I do have to, with tonight's show, after these 2 topics, I do have to wrap up earlier. I have a very early flight tomorrow. So listen, hear me up, guys. Mr. Badbit,
is one of them Obsidian?
We're going to talk about it right now. So Mr. Badbit had the privilege and honor to sit down. And Mr. Badbit, listen, don't let me do an injustice here. Why don't you tell the audience who you sat down with, when you sat down, and what you can talk about with a game that's releasing very soon?
So I sat down with Brandon Adler, the game director, and Matt Singh, the lead game designer of The Outer Worlds 2.
Yes.
And again, to note, they handed me a code. I can't talk about the game.
I would like it, Mr. Badbit, if I could just put a request in. Could you just DM them real quick and get one more code for Steam? Thank you very much. Please continue. Thank you. Mooching isn't easy. Thank you.
I get it.
Appreciate that.
No, and they gave me some pretty awesome insights. First off, like as someone who's into The Outer Worlds 2 or The Outer Worlds as much as I am, I love the first game. I played it literally earlier this year, and then I was like, let me just get more into these weird Obsidian games. And so I dabbled in a whole bunch of Obsidian stuff afterwards, and really would like Avowed.
Yeah,
I'm the one guy.
Death Singer loved it as well.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So, what are some things that you like generalizing of things that they have talked about? One of the things I think perhaps we talked about how 343 Kojima Productions, how Xbox teams communicate within Xbox teams, and even just them, how they communicate with themselves. Would you guys like to hear about that?
Absolutely. Well, I want to hear. I want to hear that. I want to hear, how they came up with that. Their concept, how they kind of grew from Outer Worlds 1 to Outer Worlds 2. Outer Worlds 1, I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Babbitt, because I want you to know this. For full disclosure, my audience knows they've been listening to me for years. Outer Worlds 1 was, I think, a quality product in the sense of how it was built, how the game ran. It was fine. I will say I did find it a bit boring. That's a me problem. That's fine. I'm not even saying I found it a little boring. What did they do in your talks that maybe ramped this up a bit, got the dialogue going a little bit more that interaction, and not having that dull faced, like Google-eyed look that we got those eyes that were like staring off into space. How did they transform? And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping Outer Worlds 2 is that next evolution.
Well, I'm hoping for it too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So there's a few things. So the one interesting thing is, like, I love talking to developers because they get really candid about like their projects. Developers know what game that they have and how they want to improve on it, kind of like before they start the sequel. So when Brandon was on, he talked about when he got onto the project, he talked about them finishing up the Outer Worlds 1 and having a checklist of things that they wanted to address and wanted to do better with a sequel.
Yes, please.
And he had a mighty long list, and he said that the thing that he was pleasantly surprised by, the thing that made his job a little bit easier, was the fact that the community felt the same as well. So, for him, the number one thing both Brandon and Matt were talking about when it comes to this game was like they wanted to expand the combat. They wanted
please again,
first-person shooter guys. Yeah, they're big first-person shooter guys. They love games like Destiny. They love, games like Halo. They love first-person shooters.
Yep.
And so they're like, how can we bring that energy into the Outer Worlds 2? So they reached out to 343. They gave 343 their notes. 343 came back to them. They go, this, and that. They talk about reload animations. They talk about, how the combat feels overall.
Yes.
Like something that is very well an evolution of the Outer Worlds 1. It's a step up. They really wanted to make the gunplay feel far better than just, hey, this is an RPG that also just has shooting mechanics, right?
This is all very good, Mr. Babbitt. Now, quick question that everyone always asks: did you ask them do you need to play 1 to play 2? I think a lot of people who haven't, can they take that next step?
Yeah. So you do not need to play the second one the first one in order to play the second one. They made it so that, like, if you played the first one, you're going to get a lot more context to the story.
True.
You're going to understand a lot more references, but this is at the same exact time a self-contained story. And yes, like they talk about making the enemy AI a heck of a lot smarter as well. And I can't attest to any of that, if that's true or false yet.
Okay. Well, are you allowed to even say what you can do or you can't do, or you can't mention that you are?
It's weird because there's been previews of the game, right? But it's the first hour, but I didn't play that preview, so I can't give him of the preview.
Understood.
Ain't gonna catch me slipping.
No, and that wasn't it. I wasn't even trying to get you to slip. I didn't even know if you could say you were involved in enjoying the game. I don't know. I don't know what you can say. I don't know what you say. Whatever you feel comfortable with, Mr. Babbitt, please. So this is good. How did the designers actually take that next step? We now know. The worlds seem to be much more colorful. They seem to be a lot like Avowed. Avowed was a very beautiful world. I enjoyed Avowed. I did not love Avowed, but I enjoyed it. It was better than I thought it was going to be. But I thought it got a little long in the tooth towards the end, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it. I think I told you I probably put about 25, 30 hours into it. To give credit where credit's due, I did not complete that game. I didn't complete it. I got pretty far, and it just kind of got to a point where I was like, I put it down and played something else. I'm hoping that the Outer Worlds 2 keeps that gravitational pull to finish that game.
It's funny because they kept asking me behind the scenes. They're like, the world's bigger, right? And I can't say if it is or isn't, but like they really wanted to make the world feel more connected. And the one thing with the Outer Worlds 1 maybe is where there with Avowed, but like running into loading times and loading screens a lot, that happens way less with the Outer Worlds 2.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
they wanted to make it a world that felt like it
Avowed
was interconnected.
Avowed was guilty of that, right? That singer. I mean, every single time you'd go in and out of any area, it was that loading screen. It was like, it took a while to go in and out of the villages. It took a long time to go out of different areas. The fact that they've paid attention at that singer, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that they have their notes.
Mm-hmm.
They know what the things that they want to improve on, and they do. The one thing that was important to me, because I'm a big RPG guy, was my question of well, how did you approach the characters of this game?
Mm-hmm.
Your companions. Did you have a Bible that you had where it's like, hey, these characters have to do this, this, or that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you use Parvati as the blueprint because she was the beloved fan favorite?
Mm.
And they very much confirmed, we're first off, they're very good at writing, but
yes,
Parvati definitely plays inspiration to a lot of the characters that they made. And I was very comforted when I heard that. I was like, okay, good. We're in a good place. Yeah.
This is very.
all of it.
So, Death Singer, do you have any questions for Mr. Babbitt? And then I'm curious if Mr. Babbitt can answer them.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like I'm on the hot seat.
You are on the hot seat.
I'm so good at not
The
spilling
thing is,
beans.
this because I have the way I view Obsidian, they are the top 5 RPG devs of all time and currently in the world. They are easily top 5.
Sure.
And obviously, I enjoy every single game I played. I played all the Pillars of Eternities. I played,
Yeah.
or I've racked it up. And my thing is from what I've been seeing of the Outworlds 2. But my question is, how are if you can answer it, are the side quests? Well, actually, I'll word it. How is player agency?
Talk about player agency. I'm not too sure I can answer that. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Because player agency is also a lot of things in that.
Yeah.
What's the date it releases?
I think it's the 23rd or 24th, one of those two.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so that's next Friday. So,
correct.
Death Singer, quick question for you. Everyone always intrigued with what you're doing. What do you think here? Is it a game that you'll put your other games down to play, Death Singer, or this one you just play it in chronological order?
Oh, of course. No, it's an Obsidian game. I did it for Avowed. I dropped whatever I was playing. I can't remember. Monster Hunter, I think it was. I dropped for it. Yeah. Because it's I know how good Obsidian writers are. They have a mastercraft of team. They have 12 writers. They have so many talented motherfuckers over there who can write their asses off. And so I'm okay, well, I know what this game is going to be. I have my expectations of Obsidian. They haven't done me wrong. So it's yo, my guys, just go off. I'm going to happily enjoy your game, play it start to finish. Release your DLC. I'll play that too. And just go off, because I know this is going to be a fun time. I know this is going to be I love my dark RPGs, but this doesn't seem to be that kind of thing. It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
of Obsidian RPG.
So I can't say much.
What is the run? Do we have a run? Do we have a run time that we're thinking? Is this an Obsidian 30-hour game? Is this an Obsidian 60-hour game?
I'd probably say. Yeah, can you say?
Probably.
So,
But the one thing I will say at the last minute of this interview, I'm going to put the link here. We talk about porting the game over to PlayStation. Was that their original plan?
Oh, great question.
And is Avowed coming to PlayStation? And the reactions out of the boys were very telling. So that's what we call in the industry a lead. You should go check out the trophy room.
There you are, guys. Yeah, no, please do go ahead and put that in there, Mr. Badbit. I appreciate that. I will also retweet it out. I did the other day when you did it. So, guys, go over and check that out. I did want to give Mr. Badbit Definitely his time in the sun because he deserves it. That's not an easy thing to schedule and make happen. I know that from personal experience, and I'll tell you right now, very proud of you, Mr. Babbitt. Outstanding work. Please go over and check that out. Detzinger, I will say this. I waited for you as well on this. Marvel Rivals, I want to talk about this real quick, and I do want to talk about Arc Raiders as well for a second. But Marvel Rivals reportedly lost 85% of its players in 10 months. And I'm saying this not because of I told you so. I'm not. But I want to say, what does a multiplayer game really need to keep players engaged for years? And shout out to the great James Vincent. I don't know if James is listening, but the one thing that me and him always say, the reason we play so much Warzone is, yeah, sure, we like Battle Royale. And I think Battle Royale with that, the intensity, the adrenaline, especially get to that top 10, it just never, for me, and I think a lot of multiplayer, I think people will agree with this, it doesn't really get old. Whereas sometimes extraction games and games like, what Overwatch offered and Marvel Rivals was Overwatch with Marvel skins. And I said it, remember, I said to you, Detzinger, I said, how long will the Marvel skins keep people engaged if Overwatch itself, the gameplay loop, didn't contain people? And you said, listen, and you weren't wrong. You're like, listen, Marvel has a stronghold on that. They can do that. They have characters that people can equate to and want to be, want to purchase skins, want to play as, and that keeps that game going. The thing is eventually that ends. And in this case, 10 months, I think within the next 6 months, it'll drop even more.
No.
What do you think, Detzinger?
No, it's not. No, what happened is it's normalized. Now, this happens a lot on Steam. Like, outside, like when
not
when
just
you look
Steam.
at
This isn't a bash on Steam by no means.
No.
This is
But what I mean is, like, people point to the Steam numbers because it's easily accessible numbers, right? What you have to remember is Steam has now normalized because it's been keeping 100,000 plus now peak every day, and it's been doing that now, and it's been plodding on. It's been plodding on at exactly that. Now it hit the heights of 600K.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, big numbers.
But then the casuals and the other people have moved on, and the people who actually stuck around and enjoy the game, who is now part of their rotation, they're still playing the game. It's like PUBG, for example. Like currently, it has like 100,000 people still on it. Now, granted, there's a lot of whole things going on with that, but it's like Rust, for example, is still maintaining 120,000, and Rust is a very old game, but it's just what happened is it's normalized, and that's what happened. So now the next big game, Arc Raiders, you'll see the peak, right?
It's kind
Arc
of like
Raiders.
when Paul Tassi made that one article. It's like Helldivers has fallen to 85%. Can it ever get back up? Or like whatever, like something along the lines of like, and I don't think there's any coming back. It's like, no, it comes, it ebbs and flows. There's a new update, people come, they just check it out, they drop off, they check out the new update, they come, it's like Marvel Rivals is still doing good, it's still at around 80,000 today.
Yeah.
I think it's just them normalizing and then them just finding the audience, and then it's like, okay, how do you retain that audience? I think too many people view success of like, oh, well, Call of Duty and Fortnite, obviously, in Minecraft, but it's like, those are 3 games and they come once a decade, and like, look, PUBG, 88,000, but the 24-hour peak, PUBG, you never hear about it. It looks like 24-hour peak, 621,000 people playing PUBG Battlegrounds. So it's I think it's whatever bleeds it leads. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, my thing was this, and I know people really do get attached with Marvel Rivals, and I do think a lot of it, Mr. Badbit, though. So, Mr. Badbit, let me say this to you. Let me ask you this, and because when he said people are playing, and you said me. Now, allow me to remove all the Marvel skins, and now you can play as Deathsinger, Mooch, and Mr. Badbit.
All right.
Are you playing CrossFire Rivals?
I mean, listen,
probably not.
Is there a nude skin of me?
Oh, I'll definitely have one.
Oh, well, now you got Deathsinger. Well, Deathsinger is going to buy the deluxe edition. My thing is this: Overwatch is the same thing.
Right.
Why aren't you playing that?
Yeah, but the thing is, Overwatch. See, here's the thing. Marvel Rivals has captured the Overwatch crowd because what happened was,
But there
Overwatch
wasn't a
1
crowd,
was
Death Singer.
banger.
They left.
The thing is, Overwatch 1 was a banger.
Right.
Overwatch 2 was a massive fuck up on their end. Like, they
Oh.
completely ruined it. Like, they tried to do a campaign, which turned out to be some shitty missions. Like, they lost their crowd. Instead of being 6v6, they dropped it down to 5v5. Like, they made so many mistakes and mess ups that everyone, including me, I was like, what the fuck's this shit? And even the biggest Overwatch YouTubers I watch, they're no longer playing it. Guess what they're playing now, Mooch? Marvel
They're
Rivals. Because Marvel Rivals is doing what Overwatch 1 did, not what Overwatch 2 is doing. So, of course, Overwatch 2, massive failure. Now there's room for Marvel Rivals, and so long as they don't misstep like the Overwatch devs did, then they will retain what they have. So, part of Marvel Rivals' success is Overwatch's downfall contributed to that success.
Well, I mean, listen, I see where you're coming from, Death Singer, and I that success and that transition of people. When you said what are YouTube or what are main streamers playing right now, you answered before I could. I was going to say, well, Battlefield 6, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to the streamers, it's a unique business, right? And I watch a lot of Twitch. I really do. I think Twitch is great. When I'm doing work and I have time, like that's what I love. I love enjoying watching like strategy of like Battlefield 6, and I still watch Warzone. I still watch all the guys that play that, Tim the Tap Man, all these guys. The whole crew there. They have Cloaksy, all those guys that are out there. And I enjoy it because streaming is not an easy thing. It's a very difficult thing. These guys are doing 8 to 10 hours. They're playing. They're also entertaining. They're talking to a chat. They're putting on a bit of a show for you. They're doing the whole thing. It's an awesome thing to watch. But I do see that, some of them stuck with Marvel Rivals and they had some decent viewership. But then, it just kind of went down. And streamers are always going to go to the next new thing, right? Because that's how you keep your audience engaged and fresh and wanting to see more. They're not going to stay. Certain streamers will stay on the same thing, but they usually stay in the same genre. Like there's a few people I watch that are big Souls channels, right? But they don't just play Dark Souls 1 and that's it, right? They'll go from Dark Souls to Bloodborne to they'll do I'm trying to think here now. I'm drawing a blank off of one, but they'll do like Code Vein, Lies of P, right? Some of them will even what is it? What is that one called there? Oh my God! Shout out to Creative Kofi. He loves it all the time. Anyways, the Remnant or Revenant. I can't remember right. So these games that are Souls-like, they'll stay in the Souls genre, right? They'll stay in that area, the Souls-like game. That's the one thing. So I don't know myself personally. I think, and shout out to Glinser. He says MCU Mooch Cinematic Universe. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, that and don't get me wrong. That's made a great point. I think you're saying it's leveled out. That's fair. An 80,000 concurrent playing today at peak.
Well, 100.
That's great.
100 peak.
100 peak. Still very good. Very good. There's nothing here. But I'm curious. We'll keep an eye on it over the course of the next 6 months. If it goes from 100 to 70 to 30, we'll see if it starts to get the of Overwatch 2. Right, that singer. I'm just curious as we go past the 1 year mark. It shouldn't.
The downfall of Overwatch 2 is these are two different things. It'll normalize because people will still play because they keep releasing updates, right? What happened was Overwatch, the downfall was they decided to make number 2.
Yep.
They made a whole bunch of promises. They made a whole bunch to us. They said, we're going to do this, this, and this. When the product came out, they colossally fucked up. They under-delivered on everything. They made changes no one asked for. Like, they completely destroyed their own user base on their own merit. Marvel Rivals released, capitalizing off that, going, well, if these people absolutely hate the devs, well, these people are looking for a new home. Let's capture them. Let's not make the same mistakes and keep just putting out content. Because as long as you keep putting out maps and new Marvel characters, you'll maintain these people.
So maps, you've got me, right? Because I think people have their favorite Marvel character. If they eventually you run out of the ones that people give a shit about too, Death Singer.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they have a whole bunch in there that are like more sideline. Like if I said if I asked a bunch of people, do you know who Squirrel Girl is? Most of them are going to be like, who?
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So, but obviously Marvel heads are like, oh, it's Squirrel Girl.
Right.
Oh yeah, I
Shark?
read this
Come
comment.
on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see,
So-
that they have an entire repertoire of characters. Like, they have years to go of releasing characters. Like, they still haven't released most of the villains.
Mhm.
Imagine that. They still haven't released like Thanos. They still haven't released
Right. That's true.
pretty much all the X-Men bad guys. Like, you have all these galleries. You have all the Spider-Man.
Do they have? They have Magneto, don't they? Not?
Yeah, they have Magneto,
thought so,
but they
yeah.
don't have other. Like, if you look at Spider-Man Rogue Gallery, they only have what? They just have. They don't have Carnage.
They got Spidey, they got Venom, they got
Well, they certainly don't
Penny.
have Carnage. They have Penny.
So let me ask you guys a question here, just to go over. Like I said, I can't do a 4-hour show tonight, and but I do want to ask you guys about Arc Raiders. That the beta, the open beta, is this weekend. Of course, I'm not going to be around to be able to play it. That sucks. But I'm very excited for this game. But Dessinger, I go to you first here because this is an extraction game, and it's an extraction game in a world of, like, you know, army warfare, right? If you will. I don't know how you want to look at it, however, any other term you want to use, but it's that realistic, like, going out there, grabbing things, taking on other soldiers at a time right now where you also have, and it's not the same thing, but you have Battlefield 6, you have Call of Duty coming out in whatever it is, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So let me ask you, does Arc Raiders have the capability of withstanding the sand of time, or is it, two questions? Does it withstand the sand of time? And also, do you think Bungie is watching very closely?
Bungie is watching. Yes, Bungie is watching, and yeah, as he said, because it's like, you think an extraction shooter is like, you can say, oh, Battlefield, are they going to step on each other's toes? Not really, because what you'll find is the extraction shooter community are hardcore. Like, the people that play these games, like Escape from Tarkov, etc., like, they are hardcore people who love these extraction shooters. Like, they love running around. They're the same people, you know, if you get killed and you lose all your loot, and, you know, start raging and throw your TV across the room because, you know, you just lost all your legendary shit. Like, extraction shooter is generally a lot more hardcore than, like, a Battlefield or a Call of Duty. So I think Arc Raiders is just going to do fine. Now, here's the problem for Marathon. I think Arc Raiders is going to eat their lunch. Like, Arc Raiders is about to pull up, drop before them, and they're going to capture that crowd, and they're going to hold them, and then when Marathon drops, they're not going to move over from it because Marathon is looking all kinds of spooky at moment.
Yeah, but Marathon's probably a year and change out. That's, I think they can do a lot of work in a year and a half.
I mean, it's Bungie. Like, flip a coin.
I'm not, listen, so again, but that's, don't forget, and I'm the one that's going to be, I'm going to be the one that's in this game loop, because I know, we all know you love your RPGs, but hear me out. You know the one thing about me, right? And I know there's a lot of hate out there right now because Battlefield 6, but I have not picked up Battlefield 6 yet, because I'm not kidding you. I'm going to. The reason I haven't yet is two reasons. Yay! Shout out to Mr. Bad Pet, he's great. I want to beat Silent Hill F. I want to beat Ghost of Yotai. Once those are beat, I'm going to play that. And the main reason I'm getting Battlefield 6 is not because I'm falling into the loop like everybody else is Battlefield is supposed to have their Battle Royale coming out, whether it's the end of this year or very early next. I want to level up guns. I want to get used to the mechanics. I want to see how that game feels. It's going to feel different, of course, than Call of Duty. Of course it is. So I want to enjoy that. I'm also going to get Black Ops 7. I know people are going to go, why would you do that? Because I've bought every Call of Duty since, I think, 2002. So I'm not about to stop that tradition now. Plus, I'm not going to give up on Warzone. I really enjoy Warzone. So my point being with this rambling Death Singer and Mr. Badbit is the fact that Arc Raiders is definitely going to go into my repertoire, right? I'm going to put that into my circle of trust. I'm going to be playing that as well. But the one thing that I welcome with the possibility of Marathon is, do you see something similar there, Mr. Badbit and Death Singer? Do you see how Battlefield, Black Ops 7, Arc Raiders, it's army guy, military, it's this having the sci-fi a theme in different worlds where you can just go absolutely, Mr. Babbitt, this is a bit of you coming out. I mean, right? Just go wild, go crazy. You know, make these unbelievable adventures, things that you can't do when you have a real life boots on the ground army experience, right? Or military experience. So that's where I'm keeping hope open for Marathon. I think, and Bungie definitely is a team that we could sit here and say that they've had their problems internally. It's all been out there. It's all out there. You can read it for yourself. But they still have talent. So that's why I ask you guys, they're watching, but are they watching to see how they can tweak it to make things different? Or, Mr. Babbitt, let me ask you, do you think what that singer's saying, do you think that Arc Raiders is just going to eat their lunch and they're going to come out in a year and a half and it's just going to falter?
I think Arc Raiders is I think right now Arc Raiders is the one to beat. I think Arc Raiders has the lightning right now. Has the hype behind it. You know, we talk a lot of people dismiss the you know, this genre, right? It's like, oh, only a few million people play. It's like, well, only a few million people played, you know, Battle Royale. Like, all you need is one gameplay, you know, hook and loop to really get people in. So, you know, for me, it's like, right now, I want to see what the hype is about with Arc Raiders. Right? And they know that they have the hype and the excitement over this game. That's why they're doing the stress tests. And Bungie is well aware of this. You know, we walked into this a few months ago going, wow, it's Bungie, dude. They're so good at launching stuff. You know, this game's going to be great. Bungie's the one to watch. And then we saw Marathon, and then they're like, oh man, those are pudding people, and we kind of dropped, right? I love the aesthetic of Marathon. I am one of the 12 people that are excited for this game. And they still, you know, fine, don't give me a call for it, right? Like, I signed up for, like, hey, here's the beta, I'm very excited, you know, whatever. And no, everybody but me. I get it. I get it.
Oh man.
No, I think invites happen next week. Anyway, I'll keep my hopes alive for it. But I'm really curious to see what they've learned from Marathon, because from what I've heard, like from folks that have played it, it was like, it's good. It's really, the shooting is phenomenal. Right. But we are afraid of what's the thing, like, that there's no hook.
There's no hook.
Right?
Yeah, there was no hook.
It's not that the gameplay's not fun. It's what's the hook.
Right.
And some of the, hey, you'll lose all your stuff mechanic. So, nobody likes that. So, like, there are things that they have to retailer. And there's not, while there's so much they can do, there's also not, they can't just do everything that they want with whatever 1.0 is going to look like. But I think they see Arc Raiders, they see it as an existential threat. And I think that studio's in proper danger. A part of me wants them to succeed, because of course this is people's jobs, right? Like, nobody wants to see that. The other hand of it, it's like, you're also seeing Destiny's falling off a cliff as well. It's like, well, and what does that audience want? They want Destiny 3. So it's like, man, maybe you should have listened. And I think this is one of those.
If you do Destiny 3, you need to upgrade that engine. Tell you that much.
The thing is like, Bungie problem is, like, Arc Raiders, even if you lose all your loot, right, you have a skill tree that levels up, right? Mm-hmm. And you earn progress towards that, right? So even if you lose all your loot, you're still progressing in the game, right? Because you're getting better. Your skill tree's getting better. Whereas in Marathon, you have to purchase upgrades, and there isn't a persistent skill tree like that. See, what Arc Raiders did was, okay, we understand it's going to be frustrating losing your loot, right? But at least you get something to make you stronger the next time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're always earning something. So it doesn't feel bad when you lose everything and you come away with nothing, and then you feel upset, right? So I think Arc Raiders have got it down, and they're like, okay, because they've also built off, because a lot of the stuff they're doing is what Tarkov does, right? And they built a lot off what Tarkov is doing correct, and then they came with their own extra layers on top of it. And I think Marathon, Bungie is trying to come from their expertise in it, not necessarily trying to build off what the champion is, because Tarkov is the most successful of the extraction shooters, but they're not trying to build off of what a Tarkov is. What they're doing is making something completely in of its own, and then Bungie has its own problems. For one, they can't balance multiplayer to save their fucking life. Look at Destiny 2. Like, their balancing team is all over the fucking place. So you're going to have broken shit for months, and people are just going to run around with a specific loadout, and that's just going to be it. And it's going to ruin the meta because, they can't balance for shit. But then also, it's like their content pipeline. Look at the way Destiny 2 has fallen off.
Mhm.
Like, but Bungie needs a resurgence, and I don't think this is going to do what they hope it's going to do. They're better off going for a Destiny 3 at this point, because you're just not going to do it. I think Arc Raiders, they actually learned from Tarkov, and that they did Bungie.
But now Arc Raiders is looking at a $40 price tag. Am I correct?
Yeah, both are going to be 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Tarkov you have to pay for.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's too many games, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of games.
I got Battlefield. I got Outer Worlds. I got Ghost. I got it's too much. Stop.
Yeah, Silent Hill F. I mean, I had to put Borderlands 4 down, which I'm going to go back to, but I've got Borderlands 4 that I want to like really invest time into. I don't think the Christmas holiday is going to be long enough to get all those games. And then honestly, Black Ops 7, I'm going to play through. I play a lot of that multiplayer too to level up the weapons that they like to nerf and buff every couple of weeks. And then you have to go and do that. You have to at least get the new game. Right now, I've played Black Ops 6 so much in Warzone that I have every gun level to max. Of course. But yeah, no, I mean, there's just so many games. There's so many. And then you have, I think, Ninja Gaiden is still coming out, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I gotta play that. Yeah,
that's coming out.
Too. The thing is, I have to beat Ninja Gaiden before Outer Worlds 2, so that's gonna be fun.
When's Ninja Gaiden comes out? When Ninja Gaiden 4 comes out before Outer Worlds? I don't think so.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it does. Oh, is it the 19th?
Wait, something comes out before. There's something I have to beat. Before.
It doesn't Keeper come out tomorrow or something?
It might be.
No, it's a lot of video games.
It's a lot of video games.
It's a lot of video games, but it's like the Ninja Gaiden's gonna be like a 30-hour game anyway, and then it's gonna be done. Like
yeah. No, I'm taking Nib's words seriously. Like I said, I will have probably Ghost of Yotai, and I will have Silent Hill F. I'm going for I'll definitely have the platinum in Yotai, but I'm going to try for the platinum. I was thinking about doing a stream on the shout out to Wolf. The Wolf was on he was on the panel a week or two ago. I'm thinking about trying to go for the platinum in Silent Hill F, but I think it's called Lost in the Fog. You have to play it through on the hardest. I'm playing it on hard. Lost in the Fog is harder. I will say it's not. It's funny. So far, the first enemy in Silent Hill F, this is one of those games. You guys have played games like this. The first enemy in Silent Hill F is harder than the second and third so far. But I'm enjoying it thoroughly, man. I mean, it's just one of those games where I'm enjoying Silent Hill F more than I enjoyed Silent Hill 2. I know people are going to throw tomatoes at me. That's fine.
Oh, I've been hearing that a lot.
This is thoroughly. I beat Silent Hill 2 remake when it came out. What was it, a year ago or so, or last November? I don't remember. I beat that.
Hey, Mooch.
But this game is fantastic. Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden's the 21st. Outer Worlds 2 is the 29th.
Okay, so it's all right. So a clean week before. You could definitely Death Singer run through that for sure.
Yeah, I could definitely run through that. Bear in mind, I'll have the early access version, so it unlocks 4 days early. But
so
I
it's
still won't play it.
4 days prior to the 19th?
No, to the 29th.
Oh, you're talking about Outer Worlds 2?
Yeah, Outer Worlds 2.
So what? You'll have that because you purchased it, or you'll have that because of Game Pass Ultimate?
If you buy the deluxe edition of the game,
you get early access. I wasn't sure.
You know that early access thing Xbox does. With like Forza Horizon had it. If you buy the Ultimate Edition,
correct.
You get, 4 or 5 days early. They're doing that with the Outer Worlds too.
So you're gonna have to. But if you buy the deluxe edition, you're cutting your time literally in half to beat Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, but I mean, Ninja Gaiden ain't gonna take 2 days to beat, like 3 days to beat. I
thought you said it was a 30-hour game. Were you talking about completion, or were you talking about just run through?
I want this guy's free time.
Yeah, well, Death Singer has quite the schedule.
It's because I focus heavily when I play a game. I focus heavily on just that game. Like I block everything out until I've beaten that game. So because I'm able to just focus on one particular task, it gets done really, really quickly because you're not like, oh, I need to go play Call of Duty with my friends real quick, or I need to go do this real quick, or I need to.
Yeah,
So it takes you away. So it takes away from your first single player game.
It does.
Right? Like
it does. It definitely does. And that I'm guilty as charged of that singer, because the minute I will get going on this, shout out to the great James Vincent again. Shout out to James Echo JV. He was away last week, so when he was away, I was able to really get into more and more of Silent Hill F. And when he's around, he's like, "Hey, Mooch, we're getting on Warzone," and I'm just like a moth to the flame. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be right there," and we squad up. So, guys, and Dessinger and Mr. Babbitt, I want to say thank you to you both. I didn't get a chance to say. I'm literally just I'm traveling tomorrow. We'll be back after that. Of course, we'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. But I've got to pack and still get things ready in order. So here we are. I said I wasn't going to have a long show, and it still went 2 hours and 40 minutes. I want to say thanks to these guys for sticking around, and I will give call-outs as well and shout-outs to the guys that had to leave a little bit early. But Dessinger, I'll go in reverse order. Thank you for being here tonight, buddy. I know you had a late night at work as well, and you made your way over here, which I can't say thank you enough. But Dessinger, I look forward to talking to you over the next 7 days as well, as you continue through these many games, as Mr. Babbitt says, and I want to hear your take as you play them through. But Dessinger, let people know where they can find you. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy.
Oh yeah, no problem. It was like right at the end of the shift. It's like 2 lorries that were late came in, and it's like, oh, okay, I see what it's gonna be. There's only me and this other guy, me and my friend, and we're the only people on with the forklifts. We're like, I see what this is gonna be. All right, bitches, let's go. And so we did what we had to do, and then it's like, yo, to the warehouse managers, to the guy who runs the thing, I'm like, yo, we done? Lovely. All right, let's
Peace.
go home. So yeah, like, so that's just unfortunate timing. But yeah, you can find me playing actual, all these RPGs and stuff, and playing the games that you don't play.
That's right.
More than likely.
Yes, Dessinger is playing the games for you so that you don't have to. That's a great slogan for you, Dessinger. I absolutely love it. I got to write one down. Dessinger, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. Mr. Badbit, let people know they can find you and the trophy room and that outstanding interview, Mr. Badbit. Listen, tonight was a lot of fun. I know a lot of times in the past you've kind of squeaked us in on a Thursday because you had a lot going on. To have you here for over 2 hours and enjoy your company is fantastic, and I know the audience loved it as well. Please let them know where they can find you, buddy. And as always, thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, thank you for dealing with me getting libbed up at some things. It's yelling, hooting, and hollering.
I like that,
stuff.
Mr. Badbit, though.
All right, good.
All right, good.
Listen, you can find me. Good
for you.
It's great here. You can find me over at the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. Where me and my 2 co-hosts talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. You can find the podcast on Apple or Spotify, or if you're like, I don't do those, go to youtube.com/PS Trophy Room, or just type in the Trophy Room, a PlayStation show on YouTube. We pop up this week. We talked about how, people cried about, Ghost of Yote selling real good. We got the Outer Worlds 2 interview in full, where again, they get, there's some news about PlayStation in there, that's for sure.
Oh.
And a whole lot more. So go check out that good stuff. And then, of course, we got some reviews coming down into the pipeline as I'm starting to push more into the YouTube space now. So
nice.
Go check that out. Again, youtube.com/PS Trophy Room, the Trophy Room, PlayStation podcast, and other console war stuff, I promise. That goes down there. It's a nice chill time. We do dumb, goofy, wacky stuff, and people tune in. It's nice.
It's great. I advise you guys go over and check it out. Check out Mr. Badbit. Outstanding, Mr. Badbit. Thank you for being here tonight. Shout out to Brap, who was here with us earlier. It's at Brap_podcast. He's over on Wednesday. Brap podcast airs Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Shout out to the great Porter Rock. You guys know him. 60 Frames No Lag. That's a Tuesday night podcast. But listen, to be honest with you, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, I believe. And I'll tell you this much. Go over and check him out because he's got a lot of videos he puts out all week. So shout out to Porter Rock for being here. Nib couldn't make it, but he's probably asleep, and he's going to write me in the morning. He always does when he does. And he's like, mate, I was asleep. I apologize. I'll see you next week. Shout out to at Nib95_. We'll see Nib next week, I'm sure. Also, the great David Faulkner, he works. It's Australia. It's the middle of the day. It's Friday. It's busy. He said he'll be joining us next week as well. He wrote me during the show. That's at Falky87, shout out to David Faulkner, the great David Faulkner, as I like to call him, the gaming community's accountant, who was going to join us tonight. And shout out to Crap Gamer. We'll get Crap on next week, see how he's doing. That's _Crap Gamer and Crap Gamer Reviews over on YouTube. Guys, please hit the like button on the way out. Consider joining the channel. I see JC2013 says, great show. Thank you so much. Shout out to Old Man Gaming Guru as well. Space One, Silver Wolf. Just a couple quick shout outs. Shout out to Phil. I see Oz Reaper 83. Appreciate all you guys. These are the guys who were talking to me. El Nini sent the super chat. Thank you so much. He says, great stuff, Mooch. Good stuff, Mooch. El Nini, thank you for the super chat. Thank you all for the super chats, guys. Shout out to Babor. Shout out to Ocelot. All the guys. Everybody was fantastic. Guys, we'll see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And yes, even though I've told you to go over and follow me on Twitch, yes, James is coming back. We are going to be streaming a lot starting next week. It's going to be Warzone. It's going to be Battlefield 6. It's going to be everything that comes out. You guys are going to love it. Go over. I'm thinking about doing a Halloween stream as well over there. Should be good for Halloween week. Guys, we'll see you next Thursday. Go play some games. Talk later. Peace out. Good night.